Alright, so as we get started, oh my god. I got something in the back, like I cut my throat or I got something lodged in the back, and oh my god. I am coughing so bad right now. And this just happened in the last, like, 10 minutes. You know, like, right before I hit start streaming. I don't know what it is, but oh my gosh, does it hurt. Oh, God. So yeah, I don't know. So today, assuming everything goes fine, we're continuing on with Luigi's Mansion. I guess we actually should be in just chatting first, because we're gonna do that. But I do actually have a topic of the show. Normally, you know, we're just going on like we normally do. But today I had a topic, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go on and do it. You know, let's do a topic. Because it's been a while, and admittedly, this does come from Kinda Funny. But I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? Because I'd seen it on TikTok first, and I saw them do it on Kinda Funny Games Cast, and I was like, that kind of seems like fun. So I was like, oh my god, what the like, I ate a burrito, and then I had some of those, like, Nerds gummy clusters. Is that it? Did I get, like, one of those lodged in there? What the fuck is going on? I have no idea. Oh my god, I'm dying. So, if you've seen other, like, actual VTubers and whatnot, they usually have, like, a thing where it's like, oh, let's just take the character model, put them in front of a background, and then we'll do a little bit of chatting, you know? Stream chats over here to the side. There might be other shit. I don't know. But as I was getting ready for things today, I was like, you know, we have the main topic, but I kind of want to, like, set it up and whatnot. I don't want to just launch straight into it. I need, like, a little room where we can sit down and chat. And so I just, real quick, threw together. I real quick just threw together a room. You know, it's nothing special. But hey, we can come in it, we can move around. You can see my pants. Or the full marble. I do need to update that at some point, because I still think that's funny. But yeah. You can see the... Oh, for some reason I thought this one had sandals. Yeah, whatever. So I don't know how often we'll use this little room background thing. But hey, I've got it now. So that makes life a little easier, I guess. I don't know what other people do. I don't watch that many Twitch streamers. What can I say? But hey, it's nice to have something, you know. So, today we got some new stuff. It's mostly Nintendo stuff. It's 3 Nintendo stories. But there were a bunch of game delays this week, so we'll talk about all that. And for WIBE, we got Pokémon, and then we got 2 TV shows. That's kind of it. That's all I've been doing. I didn't even finish a book Like, I was working on that last Meant to Be book, the Mulan one. Didn't even finish it. I got sidetracked with another thing we're going to talk about in the show, obviously. But yeah. I also don't have any food stuff because there was a new food thing. Taco Bell. Taco Bell is selling a Baja Blast pie. And they were limited to only like a few per stores. And while I didn't go and get one, my roommate did. I asked them, like, because they had the day off. I was like, hey, can you go see if you can get one? Sure enough, they were able to get one, no problem whatsoever. And so I have it. Just haven't tried it. I'll get around to it. I don't know. I went to Sonic after work and got like a slush. One of the cherry raspberry one we talked about a few weeks ago. Still really good. Still really enjoyed that. Why is it always as you just start streaming? You know, for the past all day, no issues whatsoever. And in the moment, I'm like, yep, I'm going to stream. I even got to it early. You know, I didn't watch a movie this week. I didn't watch Vince Gilligan's new show. So I was like, yeah, we'll get to it early. Nope, now this comes up. I don't know. I don't know. So I guess let's get into our topic. So for the topic of the show today, there's been this trend going around on Instagram and TikTok and other places of like 10 games to get to know me. That's the basic premise. It's not your 10 favorite games. It's not the best 10 games you've ever played. It's not your personal favorite. It's just 10 games that represent you as a person. And usually it's a picture of you surrounded by an image of those 10 games. And you know, I'd seen them on TikTok. They were neat. And then, like I said, Kinda Funny did it on their podcast. They did the original with Tim, Blessing, Mike, and Andy. And I know they did another one with Greg Miller that I did not watch because I was busy. But I was like, oh yeah, that seems like a fun idea. And we were going to do it last week, but I just ran out of time. You know, it was Halloween, for Christ's sake. So, but I was like, you know what, it's still relevant enough. Let's do it this week. So that's exactly what I've got today. I've got a list of 10 games that represent me, that, you know, let you get to know me. Not my personal, like, I'm not going to say these are not my favorite games. There is definitely some overlap between my favorite games of all time and games that represent me. But there's, like, if I were to make a top 10 list of games, it'd probably be different. It'd probably be very different. If I were to make a list of personal, because I think there's a difference between, like, the best games I've ever played and my personal favorite games. I think those are two different lists. And yeah, this Get to Know Me is also a different list. These are more games that, you know, represent me, or games that hold fond places in my heart. They're more important on that level, on not a spiritual level, but something along those lines. So with that, I might as well just show you the image. I did not do I know Kinda Funny, they did the vertical ones for TikTok. I was like, nah, screw that. Let's not do a vertical one. Let's do a big, broad one. Can you see? Oh, look, I can even show the cursor. So yeah, I made this. I got it done. I was literally changing things up until like an hour ago. I got this all done very recently. Because I wrote the list last week for the most part. I think I wrote like 1 through 8 last week. And then I did the final ones. So I want to go through all of this. And then I'll do some honorable mentions at the end. Because there was a bunch of stuff that I couldn't even fit on here. Or things that I'm surprised weren't on here. But I think this is not the perfect list. like, I'm sure I could always change this, but these are games that, let you get to know me a little better. So just going through them all, you have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, Celeste, Minecraft, Link's Awakening, Splatoon 3, Animal Crossing, Pikmin 3, Fallout 4, and Simpsons Hit and Run. You'll hopefully notice a few things. It's very much a mix of Nintendo games and some indie games, and then there's kind of these two outliers. Honestly, mostly this outlier. I'd say one of these things is not like the others, because the rest are all bright and colorful, and then this one's just kind of here. But that's just kind of how it all shook out. There's a ton of other stuff that probably should have been on here that wasn't, but I only got 10. So let's start off. Up until like an hour ago, I had Legends Arceus here, because Pokemon is very important to me. Pokemon Gen 2, I consider to be the first video game I ever played. So Pokemon has a very special place in my heart. But I'm not attached to nostalgia. Like, I know a lot of other people's lists will have, red and blue, gold and silver, emerald, platinum. For me, when it comes to Pokemon, I'm not, like, very attached to, like, the nostalgic ones. Sure, do I have a very soft spot for Ruby? Yes. Do I have a Crystal, my first video game ever? Yes. But I think when it comes to me, I very much like the modernizations made by recent Pokemon games. Their quality of life improvements really matter to me. Originally, I had Legends Arceus on here, because what I liked about Legends Arceus was that it put a focus on capturing Pokemon. Legends Arceus was all about building the first Pokedex, trying to capture everything, trying to do your research notes. It was really interesting, and I really did like that. But the reason I ended up putting Scarlet and Violet on here, because again, this isn't a favorite games list. On a favorite games list, I don't know if Scarlet and Violet would even make it. But on this list it does, because I've just put so much time into Scarlet and Violet. It means a lot to me. I've put over 200 hours. It's not the most time I've put into any Pokemon game. I've actually put over 250 into Sword and Shield. But I've had so much fun with Scarlet and Violet. We've been playing it on stream all year, shiny hunting. It just kind of made sense. Because Legends ZA is too new. Even though after some of the shit I've gone through, I don't think it would regardless. But it's very important. Shovel Knight, I love all the Shovel Knights. There are 4 campaigns. It is a fantastic game. If you have never played the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, I've put over 80 hours into it, just on Switch, because I own it on every console. It's, out of all these games, it and Minecraft are the ones I've bought the most. But Shovel Knight just means a lot to me. It's not my first indie game, but it's the one that I've put the most time into, relatively speaking. Is that actually... Well, Minecraft excluded. Minecraft excluded. But no, Shovel Knight means a lot. I've done multiple runs on all the campaigns. I've never done all the achievements, but I've still had a really good time with it. My favorite campaign is Plague Knight. There was a part of me that was like, Shovel Knight's over 10 years old at this point. Do I really play Shovel Knight enough to be like, yeah, this is an important game to me? But then I think about Plague of Shadows. I think about Spectre of Torment. And I'm like, those are such good campaigns that I have gotten so much joy out of. Spectre of Torment especially, because that was my last Let's Play. Before I did all this Twitch streaming stuff, I used to do Let's Plays. Like traditional, like YouTube style, pre-recorded, edited. And the last Let's Play I ever did was Spectre of Torment. I took a lot of influence from Chugga Conroy at the time, and I'm still very proud of it. I don't know if those videos are any good, probably not, but at the time, they were very important to me. So that, tells me a little bit about me. Celeste is a very important platformer. it's one of those games that I kind of replay every year. And I think that's a commonality on all of this list, except for maybe this one, is at any point I could pick up and play any of these games. Really, any of these games could be, yep, let's pick up, let's play it. It's been a while, but, you know, I can always jump right back in. I have never fully beaten Celeste. I've never gotten all the strawberries. I've never completed the DLC. It gets very hard near the end. Some of those later B-sides, some of the C-sides, and it eventually got too hard. It became too difficult that even I couldn't beat it. But what's there is still so good, and I don't regret any of it. And I play it all the time. Celeste is just, it's the best platformer. Like, there's no Mario game on here, but Celeste is, you know, peak. That's what platformers are to me. That is perfect. Next up, Minecraft. You know, I'll talk about a lot about, like, hours. Like, oh, I've put over 200 into this, 80 into this. No idea how much I put into Celeste. Minecraft has the record for the most hours for me. I couldn't tell you how many it is because my original account got deleted at some point. It got hacked and whatnot. But it's thousands of hours. Just on Switch, just on the Switch. It is over 600 hours just on the Switch version. And that doesn't count any of the other versions. That doesn't count PC. PC easily triples that number. Probably over 1,000. Definitely over 1,000. Maybe 2,000. I put so much time into Minecraft. Because growing up, I was a Lego kid. I used to love Legos, you know. I built all the Star Wars Legos. And then once Minecraft came around, it was like, oh, I never need Lego again. I've got Minecraft. And that's kind of how it was for, like, 13 years until, like, basically last year. That might have been 2 years ago now. But Minecraft will always be very important. I've put so much time. I know people complain about, like, oh, the updates are so lackluster nowadays. But, like, they didn't have to keep giving us updates. And God, none of that even takes into account the modding. I've done this Switch channel, back when I first started streaming on Twitch, we were doing, Skycraft 3. We were doing a mod pack way back in the day. It's just so much fun. Minecraft is one of those games where what makes it special is that everybody plays it differently. That's why Minecraft is the perfect Let's Play game, because everybody's Let's Play is different. And even though, you know, I don't play it as much as I used to, because, you know, I've got, like, obligations and a job now. Every time there's a new update, I hop right back in, have another, you know, not 2-week Minecraft phase, it's more like 2-day Minecraft phase, but it's always a lot of fun. Link's Awakening, I don't know if Link's Awakening is not the best Zelda game. There are other games better than, you know, Link's Awakening. I wouldn't say Link to the Past, actually. But Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom are all probably better games, but to me personally, Link to the Past is the one I care, or Link's Awakening, I mean. Link's Awakening is the one I care about the most. Out of all these games, like, for a lot of these, it's like, okay, let's do another campaign, let's do another replay. Link's Awakening, in the past few years, I have put more time into, more retries than any other game. I can, you know, when we streamed it like last year, I beat it in like 5 hours. And while that's nowhere near a speedrunning record or anything, I know the game pretty well at this point. I've played all the versions. I've played the Switch version. I've played the Game Boy Color version on the 3DS. I played the original Game Boy black and white version on the little Nintendo Game & Watch they sold. Yeah, I did that. Because I didn't actually own this game. On the original Game Boy, I owned Metroid 2 and Super Mario Land. I didn't own Link's Awakening. I didn't play Link's Awakening until it came to, like, 3DS Virtual Console. So that was years down the line. But the more I play Link's Awakening, the more I like it. The more important it is to me. It is the Zelda game. It may not be the best one, but for me, it's the one that means the most to me. It's the darkest Zelda game, as I joke. Next up, let's say Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 matters to me because I've played all the 3 Splatoons. On the original Wii, I put over 50 hours into the original, or on the Wii U, I mean. I put 50 hours into the original Splatoon. On Switch, I put over 150 hours into Splatoon 2. And then I've put over 450 hours into Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 is just, I know for a lot of people, it's not their favorite. A lot of people prefer 2. The map design was better in 2. I'll give you that. But for me, Splatoon 3 is where it's at. It's the one I've had the most fun with. It's not the one that actually this show was originally created playing Splatoon, but it was Splatoon 3. But we've done so much in Splatoon 3 that, like, yeah, Splatoon 2 is good, but I had so much joy with Splatoon 3. I put so much time into it. I've had so much fun. I always keep coming back to it, even if I don't stream it that much anymore. Splatoon 3 is great. 5 hearts under 1. I have no idea what that is. No idea. But yeah, Splatoon 3 is a very important game to me. You know, it's what kept me doing this show. And so I'm glad it had to make these 10 games. Pikmin 3, I know we have Pikmin 4 nowadays. In many ways, I like Pikmin 4. But Pikmin 3 is the game that got me into the franchise. I got Pikmin 3 because when you bought Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, Nintendo was in such desperate state that they literally gave away a free game when you bought Mario Kart, and you had a choice between 4 options. Pikmin 3, one of the Wario games, Wii Party, and Nintendo Land. And I already owned those other 3 games. And I'd never played a Pikmin game and was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try it out. And I loved it. I loved Pikmin 3. I went back. I played Pikmin 2. I played Pikmin 1. I like both those games fine. But Pikmin 3 is special. There's a certain level of management in Pikmin 3 where you kind of get into the flow of things. You're mastering your Dandori, sending all your captains into different places. And it's just really, when you hit that flow state, it's like nothing else. And Pikmin 4, while it is good, it doesn't hit that for me. Pikmin 4 is, more around exploration. And that's fine, but Pikmin 3 is special. It's a first-person romantic simulation game made in South Korea. Oh, so it's like Immortal or Her Story. Okay. Yeah, that's just 2 days away. Next up, Fallout 4. So, Fallout... the first Fallout game I played was 4. And I didn't even play it when it released. I picked it up like a year or 2 later. And I just really enjoyed it. Fallout 4 is an ultimately flawed game. It very much has a specific cycle where, you go to a new place, you kill some people, you loot some stuff, and then you explore to a new area. But man, do I enjoy that cycle in Fallout 4. I just think it is so good, so much fun to explore around the Commonwealth, even if at the end of the day, it's all just radial quests and whatnot, and the story's fucking bullshit. The story of Fallout 4 absolutely sucks. But Fallout 4 made me fall in love with Fallout. I know New Vegas is the better game. I don't care. Fallout 4 was the one that, for me personally, sure, I've, watched a lot of New Vegas. I haven't actually played that much of it. I've played a bunch of Fallout 4. And it's the game that made I very much am a fan of Fallout. My most anticipated show this year is Fallout Season 2, which comes out in December. And it's because of Fallout 4. Fallout is just very important. You make choices by the options, like Tus Kidna books where Yo-Yo choose the story, you know. Forget the name of that. So it's choose your own adventure. Okay, I'm being mean with not reading your... Dang kids learn how to spell. I jest. Kind of. Next up, number 9, Simpsons Hit and Run. If you did not play this game growing up, I don't know if this game still holds up. I kind of doubt it holds up. This was Simpsons Hit and Run was baby's first Grand Theft Auto. It was G-rated Grand Theft Auto that the kids could play while the adults went and played San Andreas and Vice City. And I loved this game. I've put so many hours into it as a kid, both, you know, doing the story stuff, but also just, you know, fucking around. Because that was a lot of games back in the day. It's like, yeah, we'd play the game, but then we'd also just kind of fuck around and make our own fun. God, fucking phone keyboard. The ROMG keys. Funny. Don't worry, I'm not a Redditor. But yeah, so Simpsons Hit and Run, I don't know if this game holds up. But as a kid, you know, who you know, his parents wouldn't let them play GTA Vice City, eventually I did. Later on in my childhood, I did. But this game just meant the world to me. You know, I should say I am a massive fan of The Simpsons. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. I have it in the notes later. The Simpsons, if I say Pokemon Crystal is my first video game, kind of, The Simpsons is my first TV show. I have been watching it for as long as I have been born. You know, it's been there my entire life. I used to know, like, Simpsons seasons 1 through 12, I knew like the back of my hand back in the day. Like, you could show me any 10-second clip from the first 10 season, or from the first 12 seasons actually, and I would be able to tell you both the season and the episode number. I knew The Simpsons so well. It's one of the best shows ever made. You know, it's only up there with like Breaking Bad and whatnot. I put it up there. Of course, nowadays it's gone on for like another 20 plus seasons, because I'll defend some of those I'll defend seasons like 10, 11, and 12. I think that 12 is the last like okay season. After that, it kind of all falls apart. But yeah, now that we're in like season 37, I don't care anymore. I've long since stopped caring. But those original few seasons are so good, and having this video game meant the world to me. This is what, you know, we always see like, oh, SpongeBob gets a remaster, Glover gets a remaster, Bubsy gets a remaster. All these games are getting remasters, and this is the one I'm waiting on. Because, like, sure, it may not hold up at all, but I want it to get a remaster just to find out. I know you can go buy it on Steam right now. I don't care. That's not what I want. I want it to get a full-on remaster. I'm sure there's a fan project that's doing that. But this, it was so much fun. You got to play as Apu. Oh, speaking of modern Simpsons, I guess they took the Barbershop Quartet, the B-Sharps, and erased Apu from it. And they replaced it with some random white guy. Well, yellow guy. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, you know, you got to play as Marge, Homer, Bart, Lisa. It was all just so much fun. Again, these are 10 games to get to know me. And Hit and Run is definitely one of them. And that takes us to our final one, Animal Crossing. I almost didn't put Animal Crossing on this list. I almost didn't. Because, yes, I played, you know, Animal Crossing every day for 2 years. Sure, that is something I did. But I don't actually consider myself like a big-time Animal Crossing fan. Like, yeah, I've played a lot of the game, but I'm not your biggest Animal Crossing fan. I only, let's see. So, Nintendo released an app recently that we're going to talk about in a little bit that is their store app. And in the store app, if you have your account linked up through your 3DS and your Wii U, you can see your playtimes of your 3DS and Wii U games. You can go, basically any game Nintendo's released in the past 12, 13 years, as long as you've been using the same Nintendo account, you can see how much time you've put into it. In Animal Crossing New Leaf, I only put 70 hours into that game. A lot of people consider that the best one. I only put 70 hours into it. Meanwhile, New Horizons, by comparison, I put over 10 times as much with over 750 hours, which is nothing for some people. There's some autistic kid out there who has put over 10,000 hours and has played every day since it released. But I've played it over, almost 800 days played of the game. And when I was looking at those numbers, I was like, you know what? I guess Animal Crossing should be on this list. There's a joke from the show Community, at least I think it's from Community, where one of the characters asks the other, oh, are you a fan of Harry Potter? And the other character says no. And they're like, what do you mean you're not a fan of Harry Potter? You've seen all 7 movies. And, well, I think that joke is wrong, because you can be a fan of something and have seen all of their works and not like it. That's a lot of Pokemon fans. There are people who have played every Pokemon game who fucking hate Pokemon and would not consider themselves a fan. And yeah, I think that joke is ultimately flawed, If it was the books, it might be a little different. But seeing that, I've put over 750 hours into Animal Crossing. It is my most played Switch game. Because that's over 100 more than Minecraft. 150 more, actually. It just kind of, I was like, oh, it kind of has to be on this list. If it's a game, my whole Avatar thing is fucking Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, I may not consider it an integral part of my identity, but I guess at the end of the day, it is pretty important and should definitely be on this list. So that's why it's number 10. So yeah, there are the 10 games to get to know me. I did want to throw out a few honorable mentions / things that I just couldn't, because, this is only 10 games. There's stuff I just couldn't squeeze onto this list. There's no Mario game on here. Mario Kart, I loved Mario Kart 8. I've put a lot of time into Mario Kart 8. I've put hundreds of hours. Also, yeah, it's one of those not over 500, but I've put a few hundred hours into Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 is a very important game for me. I used to be really good at it. I'm no Drift King, but I was good. And yet, I just couldn't justify putting it on this list. Same thing with one of the platformers. I know I played Galaxy twice this year. And sure, if I were doing a best games list, it'd probably make it on there. But games to get to know me, I don't know. Galaxy doesn't fit. Same thing with Odyssey. For as much as I love Odyssey, for as much entertainment as I have gotten out of Odyssey, because I've, watching people like Smant, CJ Yaw, Morph, Crafty Boss, Fur, Amethyst, other ones whose names I can't think of off the top of my head. For as much as I watch them play Mario Odyssey, I have only ever played the game twice. It just didn't feel right. And then none of the my favorite 2D Mario's World, and I like both Shovel Knight and Celeste more than that. There's no Kirby game on here. I literally have a Kirby in the background. Didn't make the list. I like my favorite Kirby is probably either Forgotten Lands or Planet Robobot. But again, I think there are other things on this list that I just like more. Smash Bros didn't make the list either. I'm just not a fighting... Like, Smash Bros. Is my favorite fighting game. And even then, I'm not a big Smash Bros. Fan. Sure, I've put over 200 hours into Ultimate, but that's small potatoes for some people. I couldn't justify it. The big one, the final cut, that probably should have been over Hit and Run, if I'm being honest. Shadow of the Colossus. Me and my brother used to play Shadow of the Colossus all the time. It's such an amazing game. We streamed it a few years ago. You can find that somewheres. And we Let's Played it back in the day as well, on a shitty handheld cam. Shadow of the Colossus means a lot to me. It's a very important game. It would definitely be on his list if he made one of these. But for me, I don't know, it was the last cut I made, or more specifically, I didn't think about it while making the list. And then afterwards, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably have done that instead. Because honestly, the first, like, 8 spots of the first, yeah, like 8-ish spots of this list all went by really quick. Pokemon, Shovel Knight, Celeste, Minecraft, Link's Awakening. I didn't even question it for a second. Probably even Splatoon 3 and Pikmin. The first time I was like, wait, should I? Was Fallout 4. So, yeah. And then, finally, there's no Metroidvania on this list. For as much as I like Metroidvanias, kind of like I was saying earlier, any of these games I could pick up and play right now. If you told me, hey, go replay Pikmin 3 right now, easy. Hey, go hunt another few shiny Pokemon, easy. Do a new run of Shovel Knight, yeah, totally. But Metroidvanias, I don't really play like that. I like Super Metroid. I like Metroid Dread. I'm more up on Hollow Knight after my recent replay than I was in 2018 when I first played it. And that was like my number 2 game of the year at the time. I like the game even more now. And yet, I just couldn't put any Metroidvania on here. Because, like, if you asked me, you know, I'm currently still working through Silksong. Haven't touched the game in like 3 weeks. But if you asked me to, oh, go replay Hollow Knight, go replay Metroid Dread, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. Like, I'm gonna have to, like, Metroid Prime 4 comes out in like 3 weeks. Okay, maybe it's 4 weeks. And I don't know if I'm even gonna play it. Like, because I've never played the Prime games. And Metroidvanias are just such a commitment that I just couldn't do it. So yeah, there's my topic. There are 10 games to get to know me. Yeah. It was fun. Do your own list. I'll probably post this somewhere else as well. I'll post this. Maybe I'll do a cropped image and post it over on TikTok or YouTube or one of those. Also, there's no another one I realized. There's no roguelites on here. I'm not like the only roguelite that would have possibly made the list is Dead Cells. And while I really enjoy Dead Cells, I don't enjoy it that as much as, you know, all these other things. Even though, honestly, Dead Cells probably could make the argument that, yeah, if you told me to boot up Dead Cells or Hades, God, Hades is another one, and boot up and play a few more runs of that, easy. No questions asked. But, other lists for other times. So yeah, there's my list. There's 10 games to get to know me. I guess let's boot up Luigi's Mansion, shall we? So, we're getting into gaming news now, I guess. Let me boot up the Swatch 2. Boop, boop, boop. Luigi's Mansion 2. The reluging. Not Luigi's Mansion 2, we're just the OG. Alright. Let's hit that. Let's hit that. All right, there we go. We should be back into it. Yeah, that looks right. Hopefully, won't take us more than like 2 hours to beat. We have to do the blackout, fight Vincent Van Gogh, and beat the game. It's not that much. There's still 10 boos. I don't think we've missed a boo, but we might have. We maybe should be at 40. So at some point, we'll probably have to go back through the mansion and see if we missed one. I don't think I did. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So, gaming news, we got 4 stories. Well, it's technically more than that, but I kind of combined a bunch of them. Our first 3 are all about Nintendo. We got Switch sales numbers. Nintendo held their big shareholders meeting earlier this week. So we know how well the Switch 2 is selling. It's very well. Nintendo released a new app, which I do want to talk about, because there are some interesting things in it, definitely. And then we do have the Pokemon DLC. It got revealed officially, and we got like a whole trailer for it. So I obviously want to talk about all that. And finally, our big thing is all the video game delays. GTA 6 is the famous one, but there are actually like 3 other delays that happened this week. I don't know what it is, but a lot of games have been delayed recently. Some of them we're talking about now. Some of them, we've already talked about in the past. Like, Mina the Hollower was supposed to come out last week. And it got delayed, and we still don't know what the new date is. So, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Okay. I know we made our way all the way up here. But, should we go forwards into the blackout? We also have to go down and water the plant. I can't remember if we can water the plant after the blackout, because I know there's a certain point where it's like, no, it's too late, you can't do that anymore. What do I want to do? Fuck it, let's go water the plant. I think that's important. I think that'll just give us the gold diamond. Because there are 2 gold diamonds in this game. One you get for watering the plant. One you get for getting all the boos. To get the best score, which I'm going to try to get. I think we need, 100,000 gold? We're at, like 42? So having both gold diamonds gets us up to 80. We kind of need both of them. Yeah, we're just going to go get it. Alright, so let's talk about Switch 2 sales figures. So the Switch 2 has, as of September 30th, sold 10,360,000 units. So 10.36 million. That's in 4 months. I've seen some people say 6 months. That's 4 months to sell over 10 million units. It's, if you were paying attention to the news leading up to the Switch 2, one of the big things Nintendo did, potentially, we're pretty sure this happened, is that Nintendo actually delayed the Switch 2. It was originally supposed to come out in 2024, but Nintendo delayed it until 2025, so that way they would have enough supply to meet demand. Because you look at the Wii, you look at the PS5, you look at even the OG Switch, they did not have enough units to fit how many people wanted to buy. So Nintendo delayed their console to make sure they had enough. And clearly that paid off. The fact that Nintendo in 4 months have sold 10 million units is crazy. That is the biggest console launch ever. Just to put that into perspective. The next closest one is the PS4 and the PS5, which each sold around 7.8 million in 9 months. I think this is less on Nintendo making a successful console, and more that for once in their lives, Nintendo didn't fuck up supply and demand. Because Nintendo is famous for having supply and demand issues. They'll make this, oh, hey, look, it's this cool NES classic. Oh, we're only going to make 10 of them. For once, Nintendo learned their lesson and made a bunch of these things. And because they're so easy to get, 10 million people have gotten them. That's wild. That is double the amount of Switches that sold in the first few months of the Switch 1. So yes, despite what you may hear online, that Nintendo's doomed, that Nintendo's this evil, greedy company. I mean, they are an evil, greedy company. But regardless of that, that's just a vocal minority. Those, people on the internet who say Nintendo's doomed, they don't actually matter. To be fair, I don't matter either, but they matter even less than me, because all their bitching and moaning has only hasn't affected console sales at all. People still want the Switch 2. I mean, the Switch 2 already has more exclusives than the PS5, even though, if you ask these people that, they won't agree. For as much as hating Nintendo seems to be the popular thing at the moment, the sales numbers do not reflect that. The Switch is doing better than ever. Yeah, that's wild. So Nintendo, they set forecast numbers of how many systems they expect to sell. Previously, their sales expectations for the first year of the Switch's lifespan, technically it's even less than that, from June to March, their sales expectations were 15 million units. They have now upped that to 19 million. The Switch is doing so well that they think they can sell even more consoles. And fair enough. I think they might be right. As long as they're meeting supply, if supply is, staying on top, demand is still clearly high, and they got a Kirby game coming out, a Zelda game came out yesterday, kind of, a Metroid game comes out before the end of the month, they got a bunch of great indies still coming out. Yeah, as long as they can keep on top of that, I think they'll be fine. So if you've never played Luigi's Mansion, this is the blackout. This is one of the most famous parts of the game. Basically, the house gets struck by lightning, and now the lights are in all the rooms are turned off, and they're filled with ghosts. But if you missed anything while playing through the game, if you missed any of the mice, the golden mice, if you missed any of the speedy spirits, now is a good chance to go back and get them. Admittedly, I don't know where everything is. I know there are at least 2 mice that we missed. God, is there a Speedy Spirits in the billiard room? Well, go take a look. For some reason, that's a thing in my memory that we missed, or maybe I'm thinking of a Chugga Conroy thing. So we'll go give that a look-see. But yeah, basically we just can go anywheres but the closet on the second floor. We can go anywheres else. So what about game sales for the Switch 2? Well, Mario Kart World has sold 9.57 million units. If you're wondering what adoption rate that is, that's 92% of people who own a Switch 2 own Mario Kart World. So if you don't know, Mario Kart 8 on the OG Switch has like a 45% adoption rate. So basically, if you gathered 10 people, 4.5 of them, I guess if you gathered 20 people, like 9 of them would own Mario Kart 8. And there were times in which Mario Kart 8 was at a 50%. 1 in every 2 owners of a Switch owned Mario Kart 8. This is blowing that out of the water. Of course, most of it is probably the bundle. Mario Kart 8 is sold on a bundle with the Switch, so if you buy the bundle, you get the game for $50 instead of $80. But we know that's not all the numbers, because according to Nintendo's own information, of those 9.57 million units sold, only 8.1 come from bundles. So that tells you that over 1 million people bought a Switch 2 and then paid $80 to get Mario Kart 8. That is way higher than I would have expected. But it makes sense. You know, Mario Kart is huge for a reason, and even though we all have our problems with Mario Kart 8, I get it. I do get it. Other games, DK Bonanza has sold 3.49 million units since July. So between July and September, which, yeah, that's not bad at all. I know we got the numbers for Pokemon. Pokemon ZA in just like 5 days sold like 5 million units. So Pokemon's also doing pretty well. The Mario Kart Jamboree Switch 2 edition, just the Switch 2 edition, sold 1.16 million copies since it released. So there are clearly a lot of people picking that game up on Switch, even if I've literally seen nobody talk about it since the day it released. So yeah, Switch 2 games doing well. We don't know about the whole physical versus digital. You know, I'm pretty sure digital games are actually selling more than physical games on the Switch 2, but we don't actually have any concrete numbers. At least I don't think we do. When it comes, so we got more than just the Switch 2 numbers. We also got an update on the OG Switch. As of September 30th, the OG Switch has sold 154.01 million units. See, I knew we were missing a mice somewheres. So yeah, it sold 154.01 million units. That makes it the third best-selling console. The one above it is the DS at 154.02 million units. So all the Switch has to do is sell another 10,000 units, and it will be the second best-selling console of all time. These numbers are over a month old at this point. With the holiday season coming up, there is no way they don't make these numbers. There is no way they don't make these numbers. And by March of next year, so by March 2026, Nintendo expects the Switch 2 to sell, or the OG Switch, I mean. By March 2026, Nintendo expects the OG Switch to sell 156 million units. So basically, they expect it to sell another 2 million this holiday season. I think it is totally possible. I doubt they're doing they'll probably do another like Mario Kart bundle or something. I'd be nice if they did some sales, but I don't think they will. Especially with all the tariffs and everything, there's no way they're doing a sale. I mean, they might do a sale and just put it back to the 300 price point. But, yeah. Now, if you're wondering about the best-selling console, the PS2. So, a few years ago, when it was clear that the Switch might beat the PS2, the PS2 used to be at 155 million units. And then when it was like, oh shit, the Switch has sold 150 million units, I guess we should update the PS2's numbers. So Sony just pulled like 5 million PS2s out of their ass. And we're like, yep, the console sold another 5 million units, and we just never told anybody. So now it's at 160 million units sold. So that's kind of where we're at. To be fair, I do at least believe those numbers a little bit, because the PS2 was on the market until 2017. That's well into the PS4's life. Because they were selling it as a DVD player. The PS2 was the best DVD player on the market well after the PS3 came out. Yeah, of course it kept selling. Like, I saw someone trying to disqualify the Switch and the Game Boy and whatnot and the DS because they're handhelds. And the reply was just, well, we should discount the PS2 because it's just a DVD player. And yeah, to be fair, you know, I played Fallout, or not Fallout. I played Simpsons on it. I played Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2. But I did also use it as a DVD player. So, like, I get it. But yeah, whether those... I think the PlayStation numbers have at least a bit of truth to them. I don't think it's just PlayStation pulling them out of their ass. But just the way they're doing it seems kind of petty. So I thought there was a Speedy Spirit in that billiards table that might, or in the like little chess table off to the side. That might just be something else I'm thinking of. Again, Chugga Conroy. All right. So what else? So other Nintendo information we got from the shareholders meeting is that since its inception, the Nintendo account, over 400 million people have created a Nintendo account for their system. You know, this could be an account for themselves, their partners, their kids. All of that counts. But it's over 400 million accounts created. And of those 400 million, 128 are annual players. So that means those are active accounts that are still buying games. And then for Nintendo Switch Online, of those 400 million, 34 million have given Nintendo the $20 a year for Nintendo Switch Online. So yeah, Nintendo Switch Online's 34 million members. When it comes to people buying the OG, who bought the OG Switch, who then bought a Switch 2, of all the 10 million Switch 2s that have been sold, 84% of them were people who also owned a Switch. So yeah, there are at least 16% of people who bought a Switch 2 who, for whatever reason, never owned a Switch. Admittedly, I think some of that could be like, oh, you know, I have a Switch, my kid played on my Switch, and now, you know, we're getting a Switch 2 and they're getting their own account. Like, I'm sure that's some of it, but that's definitely, I think it is crazy that there are people who skipped the Switch generation and decided, yeah, let's go check out the Switch 2. To be fair, I've said in the past that if you never bought a Switch, you should buy a Switch 2. Because you can play every game that was released on the OG Switch, as well as you have the potential to play any new game that releases. It's a long-term investment for sure. But that's a better investment than just buying an OG Switch. And when because Nintendo did say in this investors meeting that they are going to make a commitment to put more games on the Switch too. So my guess is that next year, 2026, will be the last year of Switch games. Probably with, you know, Rhythm Heaven Groove and Tomodachi Life Livin' the Dream. Those are going to be our last two Switch games. Mainline. At least mainline games. I'm sure, you know, Just Dance continued supporting the Wii up until like COVID, until like 2020. So I'm sure, you know, people will still keep releasing Switch games. But there's going to be a lot more support for the Switch 2 in the future. Of course, there was a statement today. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It was the president of Nintendo gave an interview. Yeah, Shintaro Furukawa, president of Nintendo, talked about Switch 2 development. And this is just reading from Genki JPN on Twitter. Yeah, let's just go with them. So it's Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa says Switch 2 development will take longer, making harder to release new games at a good pace. So he recommends new players play Switch 1 games as well. I've seen some people crash out about this statement, but you know, he's kind of right. That playing, you know, games take longer to make. You know, back in the day, yeah, sure, they still definitely took time. But with graphics and everything, and, you know, sound, and again, I think of the dust in this game. Like, this game had a person who just did the dust. Games take longer to make nowadays. And during the Switch generation, we were kind of spoiled, because we basically got something from Nintendo every month. Whether that was a new game, a re-release / remake, or some DLC. We got something from Nintendo every month. Even during COVID, we were still getting stuff. Nintendo popped off with the Switch. And, you know, hopefully they will continue with the Switch 2. Of course, that's why Nintendo spaces out retro game releases. Is so that way, like, oh, if you don't have a new game, or, you know, let's say you're not interested in the new Zelda, well, hey, you can always go back and play Luigi's Mansion. That's there. So that's why Nintendo does what it does. I don't always agree with it. But yeah, so it's basically, you know, we've had it good at Nintendo, but because development costs and time are rising, things are going to get a little worse, which does kind of suck, but that's just the way the industry is going. Do I wish Nintendo would do more middle shelf games that were smaller tier, smaller budgets, and, you know, didn't cost $60 price or $70 prices? Yes, Nintendo should make more middle shelf games. You know, I know people didn't really like Drag X Drive, but that's a middle shelf game. And as a middle shelf game, I thought it was a perfectly acceptable game. I had a good time with Drag X Drive, all things considered. Wasn't anything amazing, not making a top 10 list, but it was a, what, $20, $15, it was probably $20 knowing Nintendo. It was a middle shelf game. So yeah. Nintendo talked about how they want to do more movies in the future. They had the Mario movie, they have the Mario movie 2 next year, Galaxy, and they've got the Zelda movie the year after that, and they want to do more movies. You know, there was a rumor of a Donkey Kong movie that I totally believe. If Zelda does well, they'll definitely do a sequel for that immediately. Yeah, definitely get on it. You know, there was a Miyamoto quote a while ago about how, like, when it comes to video games, you know, hardware gets outdated. People, you know, can't play games after a while, but movies are eternal. You'll always be able to sit down and watch a movie. And besides for that being, like, completely false, because, you know, again, people bought a PS2 to watch their DVDs. I doubt all those PS2s work, and not everybody makes DVDs nowadays. They're about as eternal as video games are. But also, you can re-release shit. And yes, video games will last. It's just, you're a younger medium. You know, movies have 50 years on you. But, like, books have a few thousand years on both of you. So, whatever. And then, between all of their mobile apps, the final thing, Nintendo has had 950 million downloads on their mobile apps. So that's Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. That's Fire Emblem Gacha Game. That's that Fire Emblem Among Us clone that nobody liked and played. And Nintendo just clearly dropped off in the market. That's Mario Run, which I do actually want to play at some point. I really don't know if that counts Nintendo today as well. It might not. But yeah, Nintendo, they've done... If it wasn't for that Fire Emblem Among Us clone, I would say Nintendo is done with mobile gaming. Because they really hadn't done anything in a while. And then that weird Among Us clone came out that nobody played. The Pokemon Company is a different beast of burden. Let's not worry about that one. But yeah, I don't see Nintendo focusing on apps too much. I say that... Our next story, Nintendo made an app. Yeah, for whatever reason this week, Nintendo put out an app for their Nintendo store. So, currently, previously, you could actually go to Nintendo.com, go to their store, buy a Switch game, and it'll automatically download on your console. I know Xbox does that, I know PlayStation does that, but yeah, Nintendo did that as well. I have both Hades and Silk Song. I bought because I don't pre-order shit. I bought both those games while I was at work, downloaded them onto my console, and by the time I got home, they were downloaded. Well, now Nintendo has made an app for that. To be fair, both Xbox and PlayStation, as far as I know, already had an app for that, but now Nintendo's getting on the proverbial wheel as well. So it's the Nintendo Switch, it's the Nintendo Store app. And you can go on it, you can browse Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 games, you can buy games, and download them onto your consoles. You can buy systems, controllers, other accessories. So like when that Virtual Boy comes out next year, you'll be able to buy it and then on the app, basically. And on the website and whatnot as well. You can go in and you can add products on your wish list and check your wish list. If you've ever tried to access your Switch wish list, it kind of sucks because you have to go into the settings menu and then you have to scroll down to wish list, and the Switch, it's so laggy. Now, luckily, they fixed that on the Switch 2. On the Switch 2, the wish list is just like its own separate bar. But on the OG Switch, it still sucks. But actually being able to just like quickly open an app and check my wish list is actually kind of nice. It gets its own tab and everything. You can see everything's on sale. So like Tiny Bookshop is on sale right now. So, hey, look at that. Oh, 1000 X Resist is on sale as well. If you've never played that, I've heard that's fantastic. So yeah, I can quickly just open it up and look at that. It is weird because you think you do all the purchases on the app, but the app actually just takes you to the website. Like, it's kind of roundabout how they do it. This is clearly, you know how like the eShop is kind of just like a web store? It's the same thing here. This is an app that's basically just a web store. There's a whole thing where you can stay up to date on games and events. So one of the things that I've seen people call out is that why does Nintendo have 4 apps? There's a Nintendo Switch app, Nintendo Today, Nintendo Music, Nintendo Store. Those are 4 different Nintendo apps. Meanwhile, there is one PlayStation app. There is one Xbox app. And they basically do everything the Nintendo... It took PlayStation 1 app to do what Nintendo does in 4. Or, I guess the opposite of that. It took Nintendo 4 apps to do what PlayStation can do in 1. Admittedly, not the music thing, and I do think that the music app should be its own thing. I'm glad the music app is its own app. But I think they could have easily updated Nintendo Today and just added a new tab that is the store. Because right now, if you open Nintendo Today, there's a home screen, a calendar, and then like a profile. They could have easily gone in and just been like, oh, here's a new tab that gives you the store, here's a new tab that gives you the activity log, and people would have loved it. So it is kind of weird that they made it its own app, but I think it's fine. I don't think this is that big of a deal. And Nintendo, in previous investors meetings, they said how they want to do like events and check-in. So like when you go to Universal Studios in Japan, you can like check in on your Nintendo app with your Nintendo account. When you go to the Nintendo Museum, you'll be able to check in. And now you can just do that on the app. So it seems like, yeah, part of this Nintendo store is just easily being able to do that. There's a QR code that I'm assuming you can share with friends. And yeah. And you can check in at events and locations. But the big thing, so on the app, there's a homepage, a search, a news section. Again, that's honestly, if they get rid of Nintendo Today, I will in no way be surprised. Because this news section directly overlaps with Nintendo Today. It's the same fucking thing. Basically. It's just Nintendo Today does it fancier. I like Nintendo's Today calendar. What can I say? The fact that I can open the Nintendo Today calendar and see like, hey, guess what? The Kirby Air Riders demo is tomorrow. Send me a notification, 15 minutes before. That's actually kind of nice. Yeah, I actually kind of like that I can just do that. And that's not in there, but they could easily work it into one or another. But yeah, and then there's a search, or a news, a wish list, and finally there's a users page. And if you go to the users page at the very bottom, it's play activity. So I have been using the same Nintendo account since the 3DS era. Back when it used to be called like Nintendo Online. And so if you've been using the same account, Nintendo back on the 3DS and the Wii U used to keep track of all of your play data. So it knew exactly how many times you had booted up a game, how much time you had put into it, how many times you had played it, And it used to just be kind of neat on the Wii U and 3DS to go through and be like, oh, hey, look at this. You know, I play on, you know, July 2nd, I played Mario Kart for 6 hours that day. And then I didn't play the game again for another like 3 months. You used to just be able to do shit like that. And then for some reason on the Switch, they got rid of it. They kept tracking the data. Like, they still kept track of all this data, but you had to use the Nintendo, like, parental controls app to see it. Which, by the way, that's an app I don't even have. That adds another Nintendo app. That makes 5 if you have that. But now with this new Nintendo Store, you can see all of your play data. So, like, I can boot up let's boot up Minecraft. I can see, you know, we played for 2.5 hours on the 3rd, which was when the Copper Age update came out. Then we played for an hour 15 in June when the Happy Ghast update came out. We played for an hour and 45 minutes in December of last year when whatever update before that came out. So, like, you can see, like, hey, this is when I was playing Minecraft. I can see my 2-week Minecraft period in there. And so there's a thing, I learned this the hard way. When you migrate your Switch consoles, it resets all of your playtime data. So even though if I load up this app, it'll say like, oh, in Splatoon 3, I have 450 hours. But if I were to go back to like the home menu here, it would show that I only actually have like 250 hours in Splatoon 3. Because when I migrated from the OG Switch to the OLED, it reset all my data. Same thing with the Switch to the Switch 2. People who did the console transfer, it reset all their data. And that kind of sucks. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why Nintendo has been hiding this data. It's just neat. Like, we know they keep track of it. They have for over, like, 13 years now. They also kind of did on the Wii, but there weren't accounts back then, so it didn't matter. And the Wii used to send you, like, letters telling you your data. But no, I think this is neat. Like, it doesn't actually matter, but it's just kind of neat that it exists. You know, when I pulled up and was like, oh yeah, you know, I've played over 750 hours of Animal Crossing, and I've played for almost 800 days. It was through the app that I had this data. So yeah, I think it's cool, but like, did we need a whole app for it? No. And then my most played games, my over 500 hour games are Animal Crossing New Horizons, Minecraft on the Switch, and then YouTube on the Wii U. I put over 550 hours into YouTube on the Wii U. So yeah, those are my 3 most played games. Yeah, back before I actually... Because I didn't get a flat screen TV until like 2017. I think I've told that story before. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Alright, so we're done with the blackout. I guess let's continue on. And for our next news story, we have Pokemon. So, randomly in the middle of the week this week, they were like, hey, guess what? Pokemon trailer coming tomorrow. We got a new Pokemon trailer. It's for the Mega Dimensions DLC. So let's just go over it. So the big thing is that now all over the city, there'll be like these new distortion portals. And with the help of Hoopa, you'll be able to open up these portals and travel to a distortion world. There are 2 new... There's Hoopa, and then there's a new character named Ansha. Ansha looks a lot like Diantha. If you know, Diantha was the champion of Kalos in X and Y. And for some reason, she's like kind of like a lot of characters in X and Y. She's not in this game, but this little girl looks a lot like her. I don't think it's her daughter, but it could be like a little sister or something. It's just, yeah, she bears a striking resemblance to Diantha. And she's working at the hotel, and she's making donuts. Now, I saw some people call out, like, oh, you're in France. Why aren't you making, like, French pastries? Why are you making donuts? You're making donuts because Hoopa is the ring Pokemon. donuts are the ring food. Like, come the fuck on, people. And it's funny because someone even pointed out in the Hoopa movie, they eat donuts with Hoopa. Like, this is a canon fact about Hoopa, that she likes donuts. But yeah, through Hoopa, you're able to go to these distortion worlds that are basically, they're these otherworldly color, like they're mostly colorless, like they're all black and white, but they're Lumio City. So I know some people wanted to get outside of the city, go to new areas. That's not happening. We're just going to like the distortion world. But, you know, the vibe is different, that's for sure. In these distortion worlds, they're filled with a bunch of new Pokemon not found in Lumios. So we see like Wimpod and Golzapod. We see the Knucklestack line. We see, third example, I guess the Baxcalibur line, the Chingling line. So it is definitely a bunch of new Pokemon. That's good. I wonder how many there are going to be. I hope there's probably only going to be like 100. Most Pokemon DLCs only add about 100 new ones, but I'd like more than that. There's just a few that I hope get in that probably won't. But it seems to be... Oh. Okay, whatever. But yeah, so it seems to be all these new things. And the big thing in these distortion worlds, there are... They call them hyper strong Pokemon. I don't think that's the official term. But the big gimmick for these distortion worlds is that Pokemon can go over level 100. So, like, you see an Annihilate that's like 150. You see the player has like a Dragonite that's even higher than that. Admittedly, we don't know how high it's going to go. I've seen some people say the cutoff's 150, but I want to say in the trailer we see something at like 160. So if I had to guess, there's going to be level 200. You know, people wanted the Pokemon Company to shake things up. Making it so Pokemon can go to level 200 would be kind of crazy. Don't know how long that's going to last, but hey, it's something they're trying. So you can go, so in these distortion worlds, you know, you find these stronger Pokemon, you get berries while you're there, which you can use to craft new donuts, and donuts have different, like, flavors and calorie amounts, and based on how many calories the donut has, it's how long you get to stay in the distortion world. That makes sense. Okay, I get that. And, you know, you can make, like, sweet donuts, spicy donuts, sour, bitter, and then fresh. I'm assuming when they say fresh, they mean, like, minty. So they're just whitewashing umami out of it. You're a Japanese company. Whatever. I mean, an umami donut would be weird, but still. And then now this was not in the trailer, but was revealed on the website, I guess. I saw it on Cerebi. There are going to be Groudon and Kyogre donuts. So, you know, for people who are like, oh, well, what about, you know, the Gen 3 starters? What about Groudon and Kyogre in their primal forms? It looks like they're going to be coming back. Because there's an Omega Groudon and an Alpha Kyogre donut. Which, hey, that's cool. I always love me some Groudon. Omega Groudon is a perfect design. Love it. But that also means I'm going to be able to get my boy Sceptile back. Sceptile is my favorite Mega Evolution. So that's great. Another character in this new story is Karina, who, if you don't remember, Karina was the third gym leader in X and Y. And she's the one, her and her grandfather, give you the Mega Stone in the Mega Lucario. And after you, like, fight her, she becomes the new Mega Guru. So now, you know, it's 5 years later, spoiler alert, and we're seeing Karina again. And she's got a wildly new design. She's got, like, her clothing is Mega Evolution colors. So she's got, like, a shirt and shorts and, like, a headband that are all the colors of Mega Evolution. But then she's got, like, these, like, they look like chains, but they have all sorts of different Mega Stones on them. This game has been really good with character design. Even diehard haters would probably agree that the character design in this game is fantastic. Pokemon has always been good with... Ever since Gen 6, Pokemon, like, Gen 6 had so many bland and forgettable characters, but since then, Gen 7, 8, and 9 have all had so many good characters. This Karina redesign is awful. It's too much. I feel if she was just Mega Evolution colors and a weird haircut, I think it'd be fine. But giving her these, like, Mega Evolution chains with, like, all the stones, it just looks so ugly. I do not like this design. There are elements of it that I think are okay, but overall, I think the execution is kind of a mess. But it's cool to see her back. That's one of the things, Legends Arceus was great. About like, hey, here's a past character you know, let's see their ancestor. That was a lot of fun. And this game just didn't do that. Outside of, spoiler alert, Lysander. We didn't really get that many characters from X and Y. Like Clement and Bonnie, the gym leaders, don't even show up, and they were the Lumio City gym leaders. It was just kind of weird. Other things, we got 2 new Mega Evolutions, Mega Chimecho and Mega Baxcalibur. Mega Chimecho is perfect. It's Chimecho, but the thing on the top of its head, like the bell, has grown exponentially into a metallic chingling with a lot of different like bells and wind chimes hanging off of it. It is perfect. It is exactly what I know not everybody agrees with me, but I love Mega Evolutions that reference previous forms. I like Mega Tyranitar because it references Pupitar and Larvitar, even if it's not an amazing design. I like Mega Feraligatr, references Totodile. Admittedly, I kind of wish it kept the mask down, but other than that, I think it's a good design. Like, when the mask is down, I think it looks great. It's when the mask is up, which is most of the time, it looks weird. I can't think of a third example off the top of my head, but there are other Mega Evolutions that reference their previous, like, forms. I guess Mega Mewtwo YX references Mew. I guess that's another example I can think of. Either way, I think it's a cool design idea to have Megas reference their previous stages. And so yeah, Mega Chimecho having a Chingling is fantastic. Love this design. Mega Baxcalibur, on the other hand, our Godzilla Pokemon. The sword on its back has grown exponentially. So it's a much bigger sword. And it's so big that the hilt of the sword, like the handle, sticks out through the chest. That's neat. I think the design is okay. Like, it's better than, like, a Salamence. I like the bigger things. I saw someone make a fan edit where instead of getting one big sword, it got a bunch. It got more like Godzilla. It got a few smaller swords as well. I actually like that one a lot. But, you know, I like Baxcalibur. I think this is good. So I'm down for it, I guess. The one asterisk is that, you know how for the Gen 6 starters, you can only get their Mega Evolutions by playing in the online ranked mode? Same thing here. For Baxcalibur, you can only get it by playing through the online ranked mode. Not Chimecho. You can get Chimecho normally. But Baxcalibur, you gotta do the online ranked mode. Now, I did do the online ranked mode to get Greninja. It's actually not as bad as people make it out to be. Like, honestly, I was able to get it done in like an hour. So you only have to get to rank K. Admittedly, I hear the Delphox one that's going on right now is kind of annoying because everybody's just using Xerneas. But no, I think it's fine. Yes, do I wish they had just actually been in the game? 1000%. But I don't think it's as bad as some people are making it out to be. And I especially don't buy the bullshit of, well, oh, you have to pay the $20 for Nintendo Switch Online to get the Pokemon. And if you don't, then you're not getting the complete game. That's fucking bullshit. I mean, there's a little bit of truth to it, but a lot of these assholes are just being hyperbolic at the end of the day. They did also, you know, Mega Raichu X and Y are going to be in the DLC. And then they did say they're going to be revealing at least 2 more waves of Megas. So on the 19th, which is not next week, but the week after that, they're going to be revealing more megas, and then sometime before the release of the DLC, they're going to reveal another batch. Okay, that's good. The DLC is going to be all about, you know, taking these portals to these hyperspace distortion worlds, and, you know, it's going to cause some sort of problem. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm sure Hoopa will become unbound and go crazy. You know, shit will go wrong. I don't know, I'm interested. Because I do like the characters. You know, it's Karina, and then it's Lita, Naveen, and either Tanya or Bane are back. So yeah, it's good to see them. If you buy the DLC right now, if you've already bought it, there are 2 DLC outfits. There's a Hollow X and a Hollow Y outfit. They're just pre-order bonuses. There's also some rare Pokeballs they're giving out. And then the other thing that you can also just do right now, that you do not need the DLC for, is they're doing a Diancie event. So currently you cannot get Diancie in the game, but you can download this event. It's literally a shine bright like a gemstone event, and it gives you the Diancie stone, and then you can take it to Emma, the detective, and it'll start a whole side quest to get you Diancie. Okay, I'm kind of surprised Diancie wasn't in the game by default, but that's cool. I hope it's kind of like the Petron thing, where it's just a DLC that's always available. So what about release date? So previously, I had predicted that the DLC was going to be released next year. My prediction had been like Pokemon Day, because they said that it was going to be released by the 28th. Pokemon Day is the 27th, so I realistically could have seen this dropping Pokemon Day. But no, the release date is actually December 10th. It's like a month away. That's not bad. I have seen some people, though, look at that release date and be like, oh, okay, this was obviously just carved out post-game content. Like, this was content that was already done, that they just carved out of the post-game, and then are selling it back to us. I don't buy that. Because here's the thing. If you've played Legends ZA, there is a post-game already in the game. Kind of like Legends Arceus. There was a post-game in that game as well. Sure, admittedly, this post-game isn't as extensive as Legends Arceus, unless you're counting the shiny charm, which is fucking bullshit. We'll talk about it. But no, there is a post-game in this game. It's not a huge thing, but it definitely does exist. I don't think this is them. I mean, listen, it is 100% possible that this is something they carved out of the base game. But it is also totally possible that this isn't that. That potentially this game has been finished for longer than we'd like to admit. And, you know, just Pokemon Company only released it now because of the holiday season. And so this DLC, they've been in production of it longer than we think. I think that is totally possible. That's the first boo we've gotten in like an hour. I've not been having luck with the boos. Oh, I think her name's Soupy. Yeah. This is one of the more tragic ghosts, if I remember correctly. Whole exorcist thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Pokemon DLC. Of course I'll be checking it out. I've, for the most part, been enjoying Legends ZA. I've enjoyed like 98% of it. That last 2%, though, fucking sucked. We'll talk about it. But no, I've been enjoying Legends ZA. It's a good game. It's, you know, doing some things different. Not too different. It's not like radically different. It's no Radical Red. But it's doing things a little different. Oh, it's ugly. Yeah, is it fun though? Yes, I'm having a good time. So what else can I say? Alright, let's talk about delays. So in the past week, there have been a bunch of video game delays. I just want to go over them. The big one is GTA 6. Like, that's the big one. But there's a few smaller ones I want to talk about as well. I mentioned earlier, right, the indie game Mina the Hollower got delayed. It was delayed like a month ago. So that's not a new story, but it was supposed to come out this week, and we still don't have a new release date. Another indie game that got delayed this week was Unbeatable. So if you'd never heard of this game, this is a game where it's a rhythm game where music is illegal and you do crime. You might also be gay. I can't... There have at least been 2 music games where music is illegal and you do crime, and I know one of them was gay. I can't remember if it was this one, or I think the other one was called No Straight Roads. It's probably No Straight Roads, but honestly, they could both be gay for all I know. So, I first heard of this game. This is a rhythm game. If you know me, I don't like rhythm games. I lost all of my rhythm when I fell asleep in a trombone factory. I ain't got rhythm. So, I'm the only, there's only been like 3 or 4 rhythm games I have ever played. And then, of course, there's my deal to play Rhythm Heaven, but that's a whole other story. But this game seemed kind of interesting. Mainly, earlier this year, when Summer Game Fest happened, there was Day of the Devs. Right before the Devolver show. And this is how Day of the Devs ended with this game. They showed off a new song for this game, and it was really good. Like, genuine. I don't remember what the song was called. I actually think I bookmarked it somewheres. Give me a sec. I think it was Day of the Devs, anyways. But whatever it was, when this game happened, yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it was Day of the Devs. It's called... Oh, it's just, I look up Unbeatable at Day of the Devs, Summer Games Fest Edition 2025. D-Cell Games. So I heard the song at the time, just while we were waiting for Devolver to set up. And I was like, oh wow, that song's actually pretty good. That's totally my vibe of music. So I've had this game on my radar. I may not have a sense of rhythm, but I was interested. And the game was supposed to come out yesterday, on November 6th. And then last minute, it got delayed. It's been pushed back to December 9th. They pushed it back a whole month. And it was supposed to come out on Steam. I have Steam misspelled here. Xbox and PlayStation. No Switch port, at least not yet anyways. But it was coming to those other consoles, and it's been delayed. They literally, they announced the delay the day before the game came out. So, the game was supposed to come out on the 6th. They announced the delay on the 5th. Admittedly, when they announced it, they admitted that they only made the decision to delay the game like a few hours beforehand. So it's not like they had been like holding on to the secret. No, it was like, okay, like 3 hours ago, we decided to delay the game. Why did they delay the game? According to, well, I think this actually this is from Wario64, but it might have, I think it was like posted in their Discord, or they probably posted a tweet about it as well. But basically, to direct quote, QA hit a low repro progression blocker that was serious enough that it made the game unreleasable. What does that mean? From my understanding, and you gotta remember, I know nothing. Basically, there's a bug in the game that made progression impossible. So, like, you get to a certain point, and you just can't get any farther. A game-breaking bug that obviously they had to fix. This was specifically on the console version. So this didn't affect the PC version, this was just on the console version. But they delayed it on all three platforms. Because they wanted everything to be succinct. You don't want to give PC players like, oh yeah, they can play the game a month early. No, logistically, it's just easier for everyone to be able to play the same game on the same day at the same time. I totally understand that. I think that's totally reasonable. And yeah, I think the delay, well, yes, the timing sucks. I think the delay is also totally reasonable. You never want a Hellblade situation where you come in and the game has a bug that bricks your save file. Like, that's the last thing anybody wants. So yeah, they picked a new release date of December 9th. Why a month away? From what I can tell, basically they explained that when it comes to picking a release date for a game, you want an island. You want a game where it's maybe not just you alone, but there's no other, like, major releases blocking you on the same day. Like, you never want to be Horizon, basically. You never want to release your game and then be like, oh yeah, Breath of the Wild comes out 2 days later. Or whatever Horizon Forbidden West launched against. I want to say God of War, but I could definitely be wrong. Maybe was it Elden Ring? Horizon Forbidden West was Elden Ring, right? You never want that scenario, and that was a lot. That we saw this earlier in the year with Silksong. That when Silksong announced, like, hey, our game comes out in 2 weeks, a bunch of developers came out of the woodworks and were like, we're delaying our game. We're not going to try to compete with Silksong. Some of them delayed until 2026. So I think it's reasonable that, you know, they lost their window, because this week, their really only kind of competition was the new Zelda game. And their game, and Unbeatable, doesn't come out on Switch, or Switch 2. So they don't have to worry about that one. Of course, you know, there was some other stuff that came out this week, but, you know, that's a lot less competition than, you know, if they released it, like, in, like, 2 weeks when they're competing against, you know, much bigger things. You know, new Call of Duties, new Kirby's, stuff like that's a lot more prominent. Even though, again, they're not competing on Switch. So I get it. So they found their new date, December 9th. Hopefully it goes better for them. I want the game to be good. You know, they swore up, that's how their statement ended, with them swearing up and down, like, we know the game is good. We thank you for understanding, just give us some more time. And so I'm hopeful it all works out for them. This has been an amazing year for indies. And if this one is, you know, how we wrap up things in December, I think Skate Story also comes out in December, which I hope that one's good as well. Which, another game, I'm awful at skateboarding games. But I want it to be good. You know, it's already been a great year for indie games, so wrapping it up with 2 more sounds fantastic. Our next delay is the big one, GTA 6. GTA 6 had a previous release date of May? Oh god, what was it was May, I want to say 21st, 2026. It was exactly 200 days away from today. So whatever 200 days from today. Yeah, it was May 26th, not the 21st. So it was originally releasing 200 days away from today, but Rockstar came out yesterday and was like, we're delaying the game again. We weren't going to be able to meet that release date. Their new date is November 19th, 2026. They've basically delayed the game another 177 days. The game is now over a full year away. Which, to be fair, I think the last time they delayed it, it was also, they delayed it in, like, May, and that was, like, basically a full year. Do I think this release date's gonna stick? No. No. When I first found out about this delay, it was from a guy on TikTok who made a post of, like, oh, let me tell you the news. Don't worry, it's not the one you're worried about. And he's like, oh, you're not delaying the game? Oh, no, we're delaying the game until, like, 2028. But you said it wasn't gonna be that. Oh no, I thought it was going to be that you wanted the game early. That was how I found out about this. And when I saw that TikTok, I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's a weird joke. Because I didn't know about the delay. And so when they joked that it was 2028, I was like, okay, whatever. But no, there was an actual delay. So yeah, if it gets delayed again, I will in no way be surprised. Red Dead Redemption got delayed like 2 or 3 times as well. To be fair, I think we're as many delays with this game as we are with Red Dead Redemption. So I think, you know, we're mostly fine. But that's kind of where we're at. Again, make a good game. Nobody wants to be the next Cyberpunk. That's the thing you've got to avoid. But honestly, I know a lot of developers. You know how, like, right, like I just said with Silksong. When Silksong announced that it was coming out in 2 weeks, a lot of developers just had to delay their games. And that's why we know GTA's release date a year out, is because basically the entire gaming industry is trying to clear a path for GTA 6, so that way nothing, like, they don't release their games around the same time to compete. Because nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be the one to compete with GTA 6. Like, literally, probably it's only going to be, like, Nintendo. And that's because it's not common to Switch. Of course, you know, they could have also delayed the game after, you know, any Austin's airport video. Like, that's the, like, that I've seen that joke that, like, anytime he makes a GTA video, they just delay the game a few more months, and, I mean, that's the shandification of video games. But no, I delay the game as much as you need, but I kind of would rather just, like, wait, and then they announce the release date, like, a few weeks out. Do a Silk Song. Because, yeah, same, there have been so many delays that it has gotten to the Silk Song point where I don't believe this game is real until I have it in my hands. Because that was Silk Song. I didn't believe the release date until I was playing the game. Same thing here. I don't believe this November release date until the game is in my hands. I'd much rather just wait. But they have to announce a release date because, again, the rest of the gaming industry. So, after the GTA delay was announced, an hour later, Skydance Games announced their delay. Skydance Games, have they even made anything? I legitimately couldn't tell you what other games Skydance Games have made. I cannot for the life of you. Archangel, I've never heard of. Behemoth, I have no idea. And then Terminator Dark Fate. So, yeah, Skydance is a studio that does stuff, I guess. And they're making a Marvel game. They're making Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. This is the one where it's Nazi Germany, and you get to play as 4 characters: Captain America, Bucky, Black Panther, and then probably one of the, like, Dora Milaje or something. You get to play as these 4 characters. You're in World War II Nazi Germany. Captain America and Black Panther are going to fight. Visually, the game looks decent, but all we've seen is the cutscenes. We have no gameplay. We don't know what this game looks like. We haven't seen any gameplay. And that's the last, because this game has already been delayed before. We've talked about this before. And when it last got delayed, we kind of brought up the idea of, like, is this game even going to come out? I mean, we have more about this game than we do, like, the Wonder Woman game that got canceled. But we still don't have that much on this game. And I think it is a total possibility that this never comes out, but it might. You know, I don't think they're going to pull... Let's put it like this. We had more of the new Perfect Dark game than we do of this game. And originally this game had, you know, an early 2026 release. Originally it was supposed to come out this year. And then it got pushed back till next year. And now it's been pushed back into later 2026. We don't have a new... I don't even think we had a previous release date. But now we don't have anything. And yeah, I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But it's really funny that they squeaked this in around the same time as GTA. So that way everyone was talking about GTA and they can just kind of slip this under the radar. But it makes sense. So that's our big list of delays. Oof. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, we've still got another 8 boos. I don't think we have that many portrait ghosts left. We have Vincent Van Gogh. We have the Popsicle. Do we have a sewer ghost? Is there a ghost in... God, I can't remember if there... I know there's like a sewer area. I just don't remember if there's a ghost in there or not. A portrait ghost, I mean. But yeah, we probably still have like an hour left. And then we got to do the final boss, which I hate the final boss of this game. I know some people really like it. I just remember finding it annoying. But I am going to try to get every boo. We've already got 42. Kind of like the original Pikmin. I know you only have to get like 40 boos to beat the game. I know there are some portrait ghosts you can skip over, like Soupy, but who plays Luigi's Mansion and doesn't 100% it? Like, what's the point in that? Like, I don't promise I'm gonna get an A rank or an S rank. I can't remember. Does this game have an S rank or not? It might just have an A rank. I can't promise that, but I'm at least gonna try to 100% it. I'm at least gonna try. We might have to go back through every room in the mansion just to see if I missed anything. But I guess that takes us to WIBE. So what have I been doing? Like I said, there was a pie, didn't have it. I could go get it now, but I don't want to. Same thing with that Mountain Dew drink. I have that. I still have that in my fridge. And I'm just like, I'm good tonight. You know, I had a Sonic drink. I don't need that tonight. Even though I am definitely out of water. I don't want to eat any more of those Nerds gummy clusters, because those got me all sorts of messed up, I guess. But yeah, so I guess I don't have a food thing. I could, but I'm not gonna. I could go grab that pie, but I'm not gonna. We'll do that another time. It's a special event. I mean, this show has never been topical. What else is new? Yeah, I don't think I didn't try anywhere else. I didn't. The only place I think I went this week was like Wendy's. And well, Sonic Burger, but that was just for a drink. I went to Wendy's. I got some nugs from Wendy's. I hadn't had nugs from Wendy's in a while. They're okay. I don't like that they got rid of the sweet and sour sauce and got a new sweet chili. I don't like the sweet chili as much. But we talked about that before. Oh my god. So yeah, we've got Pokémon. I want to talk about Legend CA. I want to talk about Hazbin Hotel. I probably should have put South Park on here. There was a Halloween episode of South Park. It's what the whole joke of the Halloween episode of South Park is that South Park sucks now, and they're not wrong. Like, Matt Stone and Trey Parker have been trying to get the show canceled for like years now, and nothing has changed, obviously. And yeah, South Park does kind of suck now. Doesn't mean I'm gonna buy their fucking cryptocurrency. But it's a good bit. It's a good bit. Yeah, we got Pokemon. We do have Hazbin Hotel. I did watch those episodes, even if it took me a little bit to get through some of it, because I kind of, you know, like, I know the show is like, oh, cringy edgelord humor, but sometimes I forget how cringy edgelord it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of, you know, I like that one Vox song where you get like the 1 minute, not even one, it's probably like 30 seconds during the big finale song, and that's it. I think everything else with the Voxes, I kind of fucking hate. I find Vox to be such an annoying character. But we'll talk about that. And then last week I mentioned I had rewatched Tangled, and then I was going to watch the animated show. I'd watched the pilot movie. I have now watched the first season. So I do want to talk about that, and then any miscellaneous stuff we come up with. Again, if I had to guess, we have got like an hour left in this. Alright, so let's talk Pokemon Legends ZA. So, where we had last left off, I had beaten the game. I was working on finishing the decks. I have now finished the decks. I got everything. And then after that, you have to do all these Mabel research tasks. Or requests, or whatever. I don't care what they're called. You have to do these research requests. And once you hit level 50, you unlock the Shiny Charm. And you know, most Pokemon games, the Shiny Charm is locked behind the Pokedex, and this one is launched behind the research tasks. Now, most of these research tasks are not actually that bad. Like, some of them, like the hardest ones, for most of the time, is just collect 50 Pokemon of each type. But you can kind of cheese it if you're just collecting, like, oh, hey, look, here's, you know, Aeron, who is a rock and steel type. instead of having to catch, 50 rock and 50 steel types, so 100 Pokemon, if you just catch like 50 Aerons and Lairons, that's it. That'll do your whole thing. So you can kind of cheese it in that. So instead of having to catch, 16 times 50, however many Pokemon that is, you actually only have to catch like half that. So what, 800? Less than that, maybe? I don't know. I do math in a calculator, not in my head. But so, like, those research tasks were fine. I actually, to do all, like, the type research tasks and whatnot, I actually just went back through to every wild, kind of like how I'm going back to every room right now to check it for booze. I did the same thing in Pokemon. I just went back to each of the 20 wild zones and just caught everything again. I bought, like, 300 Ultra Balls, and every Pokemon I saw, I caught, until I basically doubled the amount of Pokemon I'd caught. And at the end of that, the only ones I still needed were Rock, Steel, and Dragon. Because the Dragon, like, there's only, like, one real area with Dragon Pokemon with, like, Salamence, and then you can find Noibats and Goomies in the sewer, which is definitely what I recommend doing. And then, yeah, that was it. So I did all those tasks. There's a task to trade with people online. You have to do five trade evolutions. I did the Swirlex, I did the Aromatisse, I did the Scizor, which were the three, because you can get every other Pokemon on your own, except for, like, those three. There's one more as well that you have to do a trade evolution. Oh, Slowking. You can't get Slowking. You have to do that through a trade, unless you do, like, the Galarian one. So I did all four of those. And then for the fifth one, I just caught, like, a Kadabra. Because there are trade codes online where if you just enter the dex number, basically, like, Haunter's dex number is, like, 66. So if you just go online, do the online trade, and do 0066, 0066, you'll connect with somebody who's also trying to trade Haunter. It's been a thing since Sword and Shield, hasn't changed in this game. If you want to get that, yes, you do probably need Nintendo Switch Online, but you can get a 7-day free trial, do the thing easy, and that's it. And so I did all those tasks, and then the last task was to win 500 battles. That's a lot of battles. I beat the game with 360. So I still had another 140 to go. So I was like, okay, I'll knock out these 150, and that's the final research task. I knock out the last 150, and guess what? That's 100 points short. That only gets you, like, you need, like, 200 points to advance. That only gets you to 190. They then unlock another research task, which is win 1,000 battles. Player battles. It can't just be like, you can't just go around killing random Pokemon. It has to be against other, like, NPCs. I don't know if you can do it online. You might be able to, but I don't know. Oh, shit. And this task sucks. Like I said earlier, I enjoy 98% of this game. This final task to win 1,000 battles is fucking bullshit. It took, just getting from 360 to 500 took me like 3 hours. Okay, maybe it probably took me closer to like 2.5. And I was just doing the Z. To be fair, part of the post game is you have to do the ZA Royale. And I did all 15 levels of the ZA Royale to get to 500. This should not have been, that 1,000 task should not exist. This should not have been a task in the game. Or they should have given you a choice. I would have much rather preferred the choice of you can either win 1,000 battles or catch 1,000 Pokemon. That should have been the final 2 tasks. And no matter which one you do, you can get the shiny charm. I've seen some people say that in the Mega Evolution DLC, there's probably going to be a bunch of new tasks. So maybe, you know, if you're waiting on that shiny charm, maybe just hold off for a little bit. And yeah, I could reasonably see that. But this 1,000 battle thing is bullshit. This is... I talked a few weeks ago, maybe even last week, about how the difference between Legends Arceus and Legends ZA is that Legends Arceus was a game about catching Pokemon and filling out your Pokedex, doing all the tasks. Legends ZA is a game about battling. The ZA Royale, the online ranked mode that they are very heavily pushing, and then this win 1,000 battle request. This is a game about battling. And that's why I enjoy it less than Legends Arceus. Because I find catching Pokemon more fun than I do battling Pokemon. That's why I'm not as interested in Pokemon Champions. Because I like the catching more. I think that's more fun. You know, as I become more of a shiny hunter, that's what interests me. So yes, I'm still working on the shiny charm. I'm at like 750 battles. Because there's a thing... So, in the game, there are these cafes. There's a 1-star, a 2-star, and a 3-star cafe. The 1-star cafe has 3 battles. The 2-star cafe has 5 battles. And the 3-star cafe has 10 battles. You can just go into these cafes and do them over and over again. And they cost a little bit of money each time. So I just went to the 1-star cafe and beat it over and over again for multiple hours. And that got me up to like 750. But I'm going to go to the 3-star cafe. Maybe I'll do the ZA Royale. It just depends on how long it takes. But already doing the Z Royale take forever. I know there's also a Giacin thing, but for some reason, that might be like a side quest that I haven't unlocked or something. I don't know what's up with that one. But yeah, this final request sucks. Other than that, I've really enjoyed the game. I've had a fantastic time, love my team, found a few shinies, but this final request is just miserable. It's not, and I don't even know how much shiny hunting I'm going to do in this one. I hope the Mega Dimensions has some cool shiny hunts, because the current shiny hunting method, where you just reset the same location over and over again, is actually really boring. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. So that's that. Next up, let's talk about Hazbin Hotel. So we got 2 new episodes. I'm assuming it's going to be an 8-episode season again, 2 episodes a week. And yeah, the first 2 episodes I thought were fine. Like, they were okay, you know, they establish us back into the world. These next 2, I like a little bit less. You know, like, it was interesting seeing some of the Serpentious stuff, you know, seeing him in heaven. It was kind of weird in this one where they bring him and Cherry Bomb have a romantic song between each other, but they don't know they're singing to each other because they, you know, besides for Charlie, nobody else knows that Serpentious is alive. And, like, Charlie tells them, and they don't entirely, like, believe her. Because she doesn't really have... Okay, so the first episode is all about Charlie going to Vox with the information that Emily gave her that the, you know, redemption works. And, of course, Vox and Velvet are there. And they don't believe her. And they're just trying to, like, spin the story of, like, oh, yeah, you know, Charlie's a liar. You know, you shouldn't trust her. They do the whole behind the Hazbin Hotel, which is, like, their propaganda piece. It's, in theory, it's not a terrible idea. I do like some of the, like, because once they're like, oh, Charlie, you don't have proof. They decide, like, oh, well, you know, she'll just redeem angel dust. That'll be her proof. The one thing she's missing, however, is that it's, like, they haven't figured it out yet, but hopefully they will, is that in order for the sinner to be redeemed, they actually have to, like, redeem their sins? Like, Serpentious is, we learned in the last episode, Serpentious, you know, he knew who, let's just say Jack the Ripper was. They don't say Jack the Ripper, but it's Jack the Ripper. He knew the real identity but he said nothing. He was cowardly. And because of his cowardice, other people got hurt. You know, he could have protected people, he didn't. And so Serpentius gets redemption at the end of season 1 because he's put in a situation where people he cares about. He's put in a situation where people he cares about are going to be in danger. Instead of cowering or running away or, you know, not saying anything, he instead goes headfirst into the fight to protect people. And while, yes, it ultimately costs him his life, it's the thought that counts. You know, he makes up for his sin. And that's clearly what they're going to have to do with the rest of them. But, you know, this episode brings up that, oh, well, angel dust, how do you make up for the sin of murder? And yeah, you know, fair question, I guess. We'll just kind of have to wait and see where the show's going to go with it. You do get some good moments between Angel and Husk in this. I do like the whole train thing where, you know, he jumps in front of the train. That's all good. There's some fun stuff in there. The fact that he calls him Legs, which was, I think, a fan thing for a while. Oh yeah, there was another fan thing in the second where it's like, Alistair doesn't have a tail. That's going to piss some people off. But yeah, I'm not going to say it's like a bad episode or anything. It's just kind of, I find Vox very annoying. And this one just didn't, this episode just didn't help with that, like, at all. And, like, I get it, they're the main antagonists. And they do, like, it's not all terrible, but I don't know. I don't like it. The second episode, so one of the things I had noticed in these first 3, Alistair is like barely in it. Alistair does not have a speaking line in the first 3 episodes. I noticed it almost immediately. So you finally get to the 3rd episode, and he has a chat with Lucifer, and afterwards Lucifer basically kicks him out of the hotel. Because, okay, a big part of both episodes 3 and 4 is that Charlie keeps going to Vox to try to get some publicity for the hotel. In the first one, you know, she invites Vox down to make a documentary, and then the second one, she goes to Katie Killjoy. And, you know, she tries to do an on-live interview that completely blows up in her face as well. And she brings Nifty along, which, hey, you know, I'm always down for a Kimiko Glenn song. You know, big fan. Hope she becomes Amy in the 4th Sonic movie. She's my number 1, number 2 fan cast. But regardless, that's, like, Charlie's whole thing is she's trying to go through Vox and the media. But, like, you have Alistair. You have the radio demon. And despite what the episode says, yes, I get it. Video killed the radio star. But you still have the fucking radio demon. Use him. And I don't know why, like, he just doesn't get brought up in these episodes. When it's like, no, clearly, use Alistair. Instead of, you know, going to Vox for your stupid radio bullshit, or for your stupid, like, TV interviews, just do it all through Alistair. I'm just saying. But yeah, so Alistair storms out. He goes to Rosie. We see human Alistair, who is a non-defined shade of brown. I've seen speculation, you know, they're in New Orleans. Yeah, there's definitely some racism there. But we find out, you know, Vox was a serial killer. That, you know, yes, he worked in radio, but he also did kill people. And so he knew that he was going to hell. So he specifically summoned demons from hell, or at least made communication with Rosie to make a deal that when he does go to hell, he'll be the most powerful demon in hell. Makes sense. I know there had been a lot of speculation about, you know, well, we know Alistair was owned by somebody. The speculation had been Lilith because they both disappeared around the same time. But no, it being Rosie makes sense. I still think Lilith is involved somehow. Because Alistair disappeared 8 years ago, Lilith disappeared 8 years ago. There's definitely some sort of connection. My guess is that Rosie has it out for Lilith. Because when Alistair quits and goes to Rosie, she tells him, like, hey, that's not your decision to make. implying that, you know, she's the one having him work at the hotel, which makes me think that she has Alistair watching Charlie because she wants him to get revenge for something. I think it makes enough sense, all things considered. But yeah, so they have that moment. Afterwards, Alistair's like, okay, well, you know, Charlie owes me a favor. I need to think of something. So he concocts this plan. He goes and he fights Vox. Eventually, Velvet and Veneer show up. Or not Velvet and... What is actually the guy? Valentino? Velvet and Veneer is fucking trolls. He fights Valentino. They have their whole fight sequence. Nifty and Husk show up to support him. But in the end, Vox wins, kind of. Basically, the whole thing was a setup. Alistair wanted Vox to make a deal where Vox has to leave Husk and Nifty alone, and he has to leave Charlie alone. Because clearly he's got some grander plan that we'll find out about. But that's his whole deal. With that, Vox goes on this big sort of celebration parade about how, you know, he's finally the one who defeated Alistair. Big moment. You know, they go on TV. He basically takes him out as a date. Like, they go to, like, a bar, like a milkshake bar, and they get a milkshake with 2 straws. He puts Alistair in the cuck chair and watches, and, you know, Alistair has to watch Vox and Valentino have sex. Like, they don't say that's what happened, but that's obviously what happened. Like, no shit. And then the show is very heavily implying that Vox loves Alistair. Like, we get a flashback of them back in, like, the 50s when Vox first showed up. And, you know, he was a big fan of Alistair. You know, he was the radio demon. Vox was the TV demon. It just kind of made sense. We get to see this old, like, I don't want to say naive, but, you know, I don't even want to say innocent. It honestly, based on, like, the whole cult thing, it feels like a very different character. But we get this younger Vox who goes to Alistair and tries to, like, make a deal. Like, hey, I'm strong, you're strong, let's rule hell together. And Alistair just laughs in his face. And is like, wow, you're even more pathetic than I thought. Because if you were, you know, I almost respected you. But if you were truly strong, you wouldn't need my help. You know, you'd be able to do this on your own. And then in the modern day, it's like, same thing. You know, he calls out Vox and it's like, you're weak, you're weaker than ever. Because without Velvet and Valentino, you're nothing. Yeah, you know, he's clearly trying to turn them against each other. He's clearly building up to stuff. And yeah, I think it was fine. I liked, you know, getting some of that flashback, getting some of those details. The whole, you know, fuck Alistair parade. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I just, you know, because that was, the interesting thing is, at the end of the first season, I found it kind of weird that they spend all this time setting up, like, the V's as villains, and then don't really do any, like, they're in episodes 2, 3, and 4. And then they disappear until the finale, in which Vox gets a few lines, and they get that one little bit of the song, and that's it. So it was like, coming into this next season, I was like, okay, it's good to see them as the main villains. And then everything they've done this season I found just annoying. And yes, part of it is the whole Vizzy Pop style of writing, where every sentence has to end with fuck. I think the whole Invincible, you know, swearing doesn't actually make you more adult, or whatever the fuck the line was. But I still think there's definitely potential there. That's the thing. Like, I definitely think there's some interesting ideas, but these, I like the first 2 episodes more. It's a weird show. What else can I say? Don't burn me alive in the comments. I'll definitely be back next week to talk more about it. I don't hate it. I'm not a hater. Actually, who cares if I am or not? It doesn't fucking matter. Right. I've been looking, if it wasn't obvious, I've been looking for some health. Because we're going to go fight the final portrait ghost. Well, yeah, not the final boss, but, you know, the final guy of this area. We create a save point. Alright. Let's get back into it. I guess let's talk about Tangled. Yeah, we're nearing the end. So, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. This was a show, years after the Tangled movie came out in like 2012, 2013, something like, let me Google it. Tangled came out in 2010. That's even earlier than I thought. And then Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure was a 3-season TV show that started in 2017. Okay, that one I was more accurate on. And so this was a show I remember airing at the time. I remember watching the pilot, because this was big during the Steven Universe era, where it was actually I still had cable at the time, potentially. So, different times. I remember watching the first 2 episodes of the show. I definitely remember the whole Uncle Monty thing, where it's this one guy who hates Rapunzel, and she can't figure out why. Even though on rewatch, it's it's very obvious he hates her because she redesigned the logo. Makes perfect sense on rewatch. Because that's one of the things I kind of like about this show, is that, in the original, sure, Rapunzel has a tragic backstory. But just because she has a tragic origin doesn't mean her life is a never-ending tragedy. Eugene calls her Sunshine for a reason. She's very much a positive, sunshiny character. And this show is all about, no, that's not entirely the case. We get to see her darker sides. This second episode is all about her making an enemy with Uncle Monty. And then that persists for the rest of the season. A few episodes later, they meet up with Uncle Monty's at some event or whatever. And he comes up to Rapunzel and is just like, Rapunzel? And Rapunzel responds, Montgomery? Because everybody else loves this Uncle Monty guy. But to see that they still not have beef, but they're more like frenemies at that point, that's more interesting. You see Rapunzel have to make the tough decisions. Her parents go away, and the kingdom is experiencing winter, this endless winter. And she's got to make the decisions of, who to save, how to save them. They can only do so much supplies. Do they evacuate the town? She struggles with her father. Her parents, missed her last 18 years. But now that they have her back, her dad at least is very overprotective. And there's a great line. So at a certain point, it's clear that the villain, who we'll talk about, is coming after Rapunzel. So the dad locks her away in her bedroom, which is at the top of a tower. And Eugene comes up to the dad and is like, you're failing right now. You've traded your daughter's tower for a new one. It's definitely said better than I just put it. But it's it was something that I noticed, and then I was really glad Eugene called out that Rapunzel just traded one tower for another. That's really good. That's really interesting. They go back to Rapunzel's tower, and she has trauma. Her, finally breaking free from Mother Gothel. No, she's still kind of messed up, and they destroy the tower at the end of the episode. And she's heartbroken, because that was her childhood home. So there's some really good shit in here. It is also a kids show. There's a bunch of fun, goofy episodes. The one that introduces Monty is a gopher chase. The characters I do like. I really like Eugene and Rapunzel. That they're not married. Eugene tries to propose. She says not yet. But then they spend the rest of the season, and it's no, they're still dating. He loves her and will do everything for her. They kiss multiple times. This isn't the fucking zombies movies where they don't kiss until the end of the second movie. No, they kiss all the time. They're loving, they're supporting. Yeah, do they kind of want different things in life? A little bit, but they understand each other's perspectives. Eugene gets Rapunzel, is always there for her. It's really good. Eugene's bigger struggle is with Cassandra. The two do not like each other. And, you know, they have, like, there's this one moment where, like, Rapunzel locks them both in jail together, and then, you know, tries to have them do, like, an escape room to bond, and it blows up in her face, and they end up letting the villains from the movie go. The villains are okay in this show. The pilot has this Lady Rose, who shows up, like, 2 more times in the show. There's, like, a horse. There's, like, an evil Maximus. There's a few other things like that as the show goes on, you know, a few bandits. Eugene has a friend named Lance who, you know, they grew up in the same orphanage together, and they try to redeem him. There's a good episode with kids. There are these 2 kids who don't have names. They call them, like, Angry and Red. I think they're supposed to be, like, Mulan and Merida. Like, that's what they kind of remind me of. But there are these 2, like, kids who are thieves, and Eugene is trying to, like, set them on the right... Eugene and Lance are, like, trying to set them on the right track instead of sending them to jail. That was a really good episode. Let me see, what else did I enjoy? I'm saving the villain. I'm saving what's-his-face. I've talked about all these V names. It's not Velvet, it's not Veneer. It's Varian. I'm saving Varian. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Come on, where is it? Let's see. Other episodes that I liked or that stood out. There's a Challenge of the Brave. So, Cassandra is Rapunzel's lady-in-waiting. But her father is the head of the guard. Her adopted father. We'll get back to that, because I have suspicions about that one. But her father is head of the Royal Guard, and she obviously wants to be a knight herself. As time goes on, her father gives her some opportunities to prove herself as a knight. And they do this whole Challenge of the Brave, where, you know, the strongest people of the kingdom are there to, like, prove themselves. And, you know, Eugene's just... It's pro wrestling. Eugene's there, and Rapunzel's there to support Cass until she figures out that, oh, she can compete as well. And because one of Cass's big fatal flaws is that she's she's hyper competitive. She hates losing. And so Rapunzel, you know, she wants to prove herself, and Rapunzel's just easily able to, like, go through all this. And that pisses her off, and they get into a big fight. But it was overall a good episode. We get an episode with Eugene and the father-in-law, the king, where they go and they prank somebody else, and the king's not listening because he's the king. After we pick up this gold diamond, go save. Because if you if your game resets for whatever reason, you lose that gold diamond. Because it only saves it saves when you get the boo, not when you get the gem. Go save. Biggest hint I can give. Let's see. Oh, there's one where Cassandra gets a boyfriend, but then it's revealed that the boyfriend is like an evil, like, guy trying to, like, take down the kingdom. It was okay. There's also Varian also has a crush on Cassandra, and then it doesn't go anywhere. It's like they're clearly setting it up, and then it just doesn't get any payoff. Pascal gets an episode. Maximus gets an episode. The mom gets an episode. The mom is voiced by Julie Bowen, the mom on Modern Family. And that I think it's Julie Bowen's the actress. That's all I can hear. I think I said that last week as well. All I can hear is the mom from Modern Family. But they get an whole episode where you meet the mom's sister, who's also like Rapunzel, like a whole free spirit. So I guess that takes us to the winter episode. So Queen for a Day is the winter episode. So, it's winter time. The parents are going on, a spa vacation, and Rapunzel is in charge. And while she's in charge, the kingdom is hit by a blizzard. Meanwhile, you have Varian. So Varian is in like the second or third episode. He's this kid who is an alchemist. Actually, he might be in the first episode, never mind. And he studies Rapunzel to try to like learn about her hair. And then in the whole pilot movie, there were like these black crystals, and they're spreading out beyond the edge of the kingdom and into the kingdom. So Varian is researching the crystals. And while researching the crystals, he like pours an alchemic solution on it, and it turns into like amber, and it basically encases his father. I don't want to say it kills him, because I don't think it does. I think he's just like frozen in stone, magic stone, so that means he's not dead. But Varian, so he fucks up. I want to be clear, this is not Rapunzel's fault. He blames Rapunzel for this. It's not her fault. Instead, it's his fuck up. And he goes to Rapunzel. Because, Rapunzel had asked him to study the crystals. He was doing, because his father considers him a failure. Like, Varian's father is like big, like manly man, secret of the Brotherhood Order, whatever bullshit, as the next season's letting. Because I've seen the first episode of season 2. Like, they're clearly building up something there. And yeah, so Varian, his big thing is to save his father. He goes to Rapunzel, but because this whole blizzard thing is going on, they can't do anything. And he attacks Rapunzel, not really, but that's how everyone views it. And so he gets kicked out, and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And that makes him into the villain. To be fair, I don't hate his motivation. The whole thing of, Varian fucked up, got his father, encased in amber, went to Rapunzel for help, she said no, so now he'll do anything to, get his father back. I don't want to say he's... I want to say he's not lawful evil. What's the chaotic... There's a certain, like, on the alignment... I know on the, like, D&D alignment chart, one of the things is, like, I will do anything to get my goal accomplished. I will do anything and everything, no matter good or evil, to accomplish my goal. And that's very much where he's at, Varian. Because after that, he disappears for a few episodes. Because the other thing is Rapunzel's parents are missing as well. Like, they fall off a cliff and they think they're dead, Frozen style. And so, he shows back up, he asks Rapunzel for help. They go in, they try to get the Sundrop flower. Because even though I swear to God in the movie, the flower was destroyed and turned into the medicine, I guess the king still has the flower itself. But then, so Varian steals the flower with Rapunzel's help. And then when she's like, oh, let's work together to make a cure for these black rocks, he says no. I only care about saving my father. I don't care about anybody else in this kingdom. Especially not you. You make a promise that you'll help save my father and everybody else, but you lied about your last promise, so I don't believe you. Which, fair, but, yeah, I just don't, like, the motivation is definitely there. I just think the execution, it's not that he needs to be, like, scary. There's, like, a bit of a disconnect. He's no Zuko, I'll say that. I don't even think that's a good example, actually. Why can I cannot pick these bombs up? I don't know. I'm definitely doing something wrong. For a second, I was like, do I have to blow them? I think we're fine. Because, yeah, I did save. So we should still be fine with money. We should have both gold diamonds. So, yeah, he ends up... he becomes the main antagonist. He tries to kidnap Rapunzel. They find, like, this robot, and he makes a bunch of robots. Again, it's kind of dumb. But they think, like, oh, he's gonna kidnap Rapunzel. No, he kidnaps the mom. And then uses her as blackmail to get to Rapunzel. He thinks that since Rapunzel's hair is unbreakable, the crystals are unbreakable, he can use, unstoppable force, unmovable object. He can use Rapunzel's hair to break the crystals. Doesn't work. Varian tries to kill everybody. They ultimately stop him. And then Rapunzel promises, like, we'll find a way to save your father. And he's like, I don't believe you. I will have... He basically swears revenge against the whole kingdom. Maybe it's a design thing. Maybe once he turned evil, I wanted him to look more evil. Because, so the whole flower, they don't realize... Like, even though the whole point of the movie is that Rapunzel is the Sundrop. She's the flower. Varian doesn't realize this until like the second to last episode of the season 1. So he's a fool on that. Then after that, with, you know, Rapunzel, her whole thing is that she wants to explore. She grew up her entire life in a tower, and now she wants to get out there and see the world, but her father tells you no. Meanwhile, Eugene has the opposite thing. He spent his life exploring the world, going from place to place, and now he just wants to settle down. So that's their opposite contrast, and this leads into their you know, it should be conflict. It really actually isn't, because in the end, the father is like, okay, now that Varian's taken care of, I won't, you know, the rocks are clearly leading you somewheres, because Rapunzel kind of like controls the rocks to like make them destroy Varian's like weapons in the big final battle. And so now they're gonna like, because all the rocks are pointing in like the same direction, so now they're gonna follow the rocks, and that's the second season, is them going out on an adventure to follow the rocks. I've seen the first episode. They're off on the road. There's this moon drop, because there's the sun drop, which is Rapunzel has, but there's also like a moon drop, and so they have so they're looking for that, and there's like this king, and there's this woman, this Braveheart woman who's like trying to find them. The first episode was all about there's a character mentioned in the first season, the Baron. And there's this guy named the Weasel who works for the Baron. In the second season, we get to meet the Baron. Okay, there we go. And they mention that Eugene stole the Baron's stallion. And so in the second season, in the first, 2 episodes, we find out that Stallion is a woman. That Eugene was engaged to a woman named Stallion. And that basically he has to marry her again. He gets thrown in jail, Lance gets poisoned, until he marries her. And that's what the first episode was all about. Yeah, it was fine, you know, they're on the road, they're in a new town. Yeah, it's, you know, change of pace, I think it's fine. So, the one thing I know about this show is that at some point, Cassandra becomes the villain. I don't know why, but I know I've seen pictures where she has, like, blue hair, and she's telling off Rapunzel for something or other. I think there's like a song in there somewheres. But I don't know any of the context for that. I just know at some point Cassandra becomes the villain. And watching this first season, I get none of that. Like, Varian, well, yes, he becomes the villain. It's entirely his motivation, right? He fucked up. He blames Rapunzel for his fuck up, and now he's trying to get his father back, and he has to do evil things to get them back. I'm just gonna start it's save scumming, but this is just saving me the walk back. We're still gonna have to sit through the cutscene though. Ugh. Whatever. So yeah, so at some point I know Cassandra becomes the main antagonist. My guess is based on Varian's motivation. I think, because they established Cassandra's an orphan. What if her father is this king guy? This, like, the guy who has the, moon drop? What if that was her father? And in the second season, she's gonna learn that. And learn that there's, like, some sort of, like, destiny. That, you know, right, Rapunzel controls the sun drop, she controls the moon drop, and they're like destined to be enemies or something. I don't know, because here's the other thing. From what I kind of remember from people talking about the show, she don't get a redemption arc. Like, I might be completely wrong, but from what it sounds like, Cassandra doesn't get a redemption arc. From what I remember, I'll find out. But so far, I've liked the character. You know, I'm all for some good feminism, taking on the, you know, elite chauvinist guards or whatever. I'm always down for that. But I like the character too much. I don't want to see her become a villain. Like, Varian, I think his villain transformation's a little weird. But I wasn't, like, so attached to the character. Because he only shows up in, like, 2 episodes and then he becomes the villain. Cassandra's been in way more, an entire season. We've got to know a lot about her. So the idea of her becoming, you know, the big bat, the BBEG, I just don't buy it based on everything that happens. But obviously something's going to go down at some point that's going to make her into the BBEG. And I guess I'm not looking forward to it because I like the character enough. If it's done well enough, it won't be an issue. But I think of probably Linkara, actually. He once said something along the lines of, like, you shouldn't kill off a character until you've told every possible story with them. And I think the same thing applies to making a character evil. You shouldn't make a character evil until you've told every possible good story with them. And honestly, most people hate when characters become evil. At least in comic books, if I remember correctly. Like, I know people nowadays feel differently on, like, Malice or Madeline Pryor, but I know at the time, those were pretty hated. And the fucking Malice story sucks. Where Reed Richard has to snap her out of it by being misogynistic to her. What a fucking mess. If I remember, it's been a while since... I've never even read the comic, what am I saying? And since I've, like, seen a YouTube video on it. But yeah, I'm going to keep watching the show. I found it entertaining enough. And because of that, I did no audiobook this week. I literally, all my free time went into Tangled. And so I started the Mulan book. I guess let's talk about that. What is the Mulan book called? Well, I reset... So, we talked about the Meant to Be series, and the last one was Tangled. The next one is Mulan, and it's called Worth Fighting For. And I started it, and it's okay. Kind of like the last one, I think it's got a good premise. Or kind of like the Cinderella one. I think it's got a good premise. It all depends on the execution. So, it starts off, we meet Mulan and her dad, Joe. And they work at a hedge fund, some sort of financial, you know, they're a financial company. They buy up other companies and turn them around. And the father is interested in buying a whiskey company. It's a family-owned whiskey company. You know, they have a ranch. They do everything out of their ranch. They're the man's man whiskey is how they market themselves. But the company's, you know, slowly failing. They're losing money. So the father wants to buy it. And so as they're getting the deal ready, the father has a heart attack. So now it's up to Mulan to do the deal. And so they like go through the father's emails and they realize the dad never called himself a man in any of his emails. So they're like, okay, what if you just pretend you're your father, Joe? So that's the whole instead of doing like, it's a girl wearing guy's clothing, they don't do that. Instead, they think that Mulan is, Joe, the father, who grew up in China, had a ranch, know how to ride horses, slaughtered pigs, all this stuff. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pass her off as the father. Again, that's kind of the movie in spirit. No army drafting. This one did Mushu. So one of the things all these other books did, they don't do the comedic side characters. Like the Cinderella one doesn't do the mice. The Beauty and the Beast one has a Mrs. Potts, but it doesn't have a Lumiere. It barely has a Chip. The Ariel one doesn't have any of them. At least the bandmates might be Sebastian and the others. Admittedly, that could totally be how it's written, but I didn't really get that vibe, like comedic relief. And then the Tangled one had a Pascal, but it was a cat. And it literally only appeared in like the first chapter and the last chapter. This one has a Mushu. Mulan's cousin is Mushu, who I picture as, is it Christine from How I Met Your Mother? Okay, it's not Christine. There's a character in How I Met Your Mother who Robin works with, who is like this very like peppy ball of sunshine, whose name I can't, is it just, no, it's not Jessica. What the fuck is her name? Robin works with her, and she's this peppy ball of sunshine, and she eventually starts dating Barney, and Robin tries to break up her and Barney, because Robin hates her. Patrice, there we go. It wasn't Jessica, it's Patrice. So yeah, that's what I picture Mushu as. I picture her as Patrice. This like ball of sunshine. And I guess that means Mulan is Robin Sparkles, I guess. I don't know, that's just how I'm picturing it in my head. But yeah, it's Mushu, she's a lot, but I don't think she's bad by any means. It's an okay book so far. Where I left off is that basically to make the deal go through, you know, because most of the whiskey family, I think they're the Lees, are misogynistic. You know, they're the man's man whiskey. They don't want a woman running the company. The only exceptions are whatever the main guy's name is, not Sebastian. It's something like that. And his mom. Those are the only two that are like kind of on board with her, even though she fucks up and she confuses the guy for an intern. Whole thing. But basically, Mushu ends up getting her an invite to their ranch, so that way Mulan can prove she's a manly man who could handle this manly whiskey company. There's a lot. I know some people are going to get turned off in this book because of all the feminism stuff, but I get it. I don't think any of the complaints are invalid. You know, her having to deal with dude bro finance guys. Yeah, that shit still happens all the time. Definitely. Definitely a real complaint. So yeah, I think it's got a good concept. That's what I will say. I think this book has a solid concept. And it's just, now, you know, she gets her some cowgirl skinny jeans and a cowboy hat, Mushu. And it's like, okay, clearly this is the wrong choice of attire. So now we just kind of, they're heading off to the ranch, and that's kind of where I stopped. You know, I've been exclusively listening to this on my drive to and from work. So that's all I know at the moment. I guess that takes us into miscellaneous. So this boss fight, I hate. The angles are weird. Like, King Boo, I know I think he casts a shadow, but he's just kind of annoying to suck up. I know you can, like, 2-cycle this boss. I'm not getting lucky enough to. These like, spike balls, you have to get really close to suck them up. When Bowser does that suck attack right there, if he sucks you up, he'll spit you out, and your recovery stun takes so long that he can usually get a second attack off on you in that time. That, I don't know why that didn't hit. Mechanically, I don't think this boss is terrible. You know, sucking up the balls, shooting them into Bowser's face, because it's a Bowser puppet. And then later on, we'll get to it, after you do enough damage, he'll put the Bowser head on backwards. And I always thought that was kind of neat, like when we get to that eventually. I think the Bowser head going on backwards a neat detail, but I kind of wish you were just doing a King Boo boss fight. I don't know how people feel about the King Boo boss fights in the second and third game, but I remember liking them more than this one. I feel like just having the main antagonist be, oh, guess what, it's Bowser. It's Puppet Bowser, but it's still just Bowser. I feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out. I still like King Boo's design, though. Alright, the whole sunken-in eyes, the ruby crown. A lot better than the one we get in, like, all the sports games and the Mario Kart. This King Boo design is so much better. But yeah. And then I should probably do the save point after this cutscene. But I don't think I'm going to. Because we gotta at least suffer a little bit, you know. I don't know, we've been at this for a while. And I'm not getting any... I don't even think I've gotten below 300 yet. So I'm struggling just a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I do enjoy this game. We basically got, you know, we got all the not all the gyms. Because I clearly don't remember where all the speedy spirits and the mice are. We only got like 5 mice. We probably only got like 5 speedy spirits. I know we let a few get away. I for sure know at least like 3 got away. And there's probably some I didn't find. Like, I'm lucky I remembered the basement one. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get S rank, or A rank, or whatever it is. I think it's A rank. Because I want to say S rank is the 3DS version. Because they remade this game on 3DS. I've played the 3DS port. It's a fine port. Nothing wrong with the 3DS port whatsoever. I know they mess around with the controls. I think they're fine. Because you can use, like, the Dark Moon controls in the 3DS version. The whole head shooting ice is kind of weird. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm dodging it and it's just not dodging right. Yeah, look at what a weird position we're in. But hey, we're under 300 for the first time. Is he? No, he probably puts the head back on backwards after like 200, maybe. And the other thing, I want to say in the 3DS version, they made it so that when he destroys these pillars, they drop hearts. But in this version, they don't. And maybe you can blow them up with the explosives as well, the balls as well. But you can't in this. I don't know. And then I looked it up after last time. For the hidden mansion in this game, I found out that for the hidden mansion, you have to... it's different on the European version. That because the European version took like another year to release, during that extra time between the American and the Japanese, American, and European versions, they actually completely redid the hidden mansion for the European version. And some of that's on the 3DS, but not all of it is. Like the whole riding the poltergeist thing. Poltergust. Whatever. Yeah, I looked that up after last time. It also doesn't help that we're going into this boss with like 70 health. You know, we're 30 down. But that's the save point we created. Nope, we missed. And there we go. This is the only time we've actually... Like, we've made save states. This is the only time we've actually had to use one. And it's just... I think this is quicker than running back. Either way, we got to sit through some of these cutscenes. But at least we don't have to trudge all the way down the hall and whatnot. Oh, should we talk about elections? Should we talk about how Mamdani won the New York mayoral race? That's great. That is great. Because, you know, you're so sick of these these Democrats. I mean, the Republicans fucking suck as well. But the Democrats are like, oh, well, you want free health, you want free universal health care. Well, we wish we could, but we just can't. Whereas Mamdani is at least like, we're gonna try. You know, the Democrats just say, no, that's not possible. Whereas I'd rather have them just, like, even if it's not actually possible, at least fucking try. I don't know. It's seeing some conservatives crash out over this. Like, nothing's changed. like, I think of the South Park, where when Obama wins, they all go down into, like, their Obama-safe bunkers because they think the country's gonna be destroyed. Like, that was almost 20 years ago, and nothing has changed. People still feel the same way about New York. One of the websites was like, oh, now that Zoran's mayor, if you want to move out of New York, here's some, you know, realtors in Texas and Florida and whatnot. Which website was that? I don't remember. It was funny. Whoever did that was funny, though. Okay, there we go. Legally obligated politics. Not like the government isn't still shut down. God. Trump and the Republicans are truly failing at every aspect. Like, no wonder Republicans got their ass handed to them during the election. We've been in government shutdown, the record, right now. And they're clearly, the Republicans want to do nothing to stop it. They blame the Democrats for everything, but then they do nothing. Except for take vacations. Oh, you know, okay, politics adjacent. Netflix put out a new show. I think it's a mini series with Nick Offerman. And it's called Death by Lightning. And it's about President... It's Garfield, right? Yeah, President James Garfield and his assassination. Which, if you know nothing about President James Garfield and his assassination, don't Google it. Just watch the show. I have not watched it myself, but I've heard it's good. And I know about Garfield's assassination. And it's very weird and very interesting. And so I've heard great things about this Netflix limited series. From what it sounds like, it sounds great. It's 4 episodes. Each are about an hour long. Yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd recommend looking into it. That's the one good thing. And then the other thing, right, I mentioned at the top of the show, Vince Gilligan put out their new thing on Apple TV. I'll get around to watching it. I was going to today, but I just ran out of time. Oh. And so I'll get around to it tomorrow. Oh, hopefully. Not that we'll be talking, because here's the thing. I didn't talk about, this show, Breaking Bad predates the show. Better Call Saul does not, I don't think. And we never talked about Better Call Saul. We also never talked about, like, Severance and whatnot. You know, this show is for the more lighthearted, the fun stuff, the cartoony stuff. All the serious stuff I just do in my own time, and then I never talk about it. Like, I never talk about the Oscars on this. I'll mention I've seen the movies, but all the Oscar nominee stuff, I don't talk about that on this show. That's not the point of this show. At least, not how I think about it. Maybe it could be, but... But yeah, no, I heard about that Netflix thing, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I should check that out. Yeah. Oh, and then the new Zelda game came out. Haven't touched it. I'll get around to it, obviously, but I have not touched the new Zelda. I'm working on Pokémon, and then after I do Pokémon, I have to finish Silksong. I don't know how much time I have left in Silksong. I could still, for all I know, have another, like, 60 hours. You know, double my playtime. But I have no fucking idea. I thought I was done with, like, Act 2 stuff, and I don't think I am. Because the last time I played it was when we fought Lace on stream that one time. And I thought I was done with Act 2. I don't think I am. So I don't know how much time I have left in Silksong, but it's clearly a lot. We've still clearly got a lot of work to do. So I gotta finish it before the end of the year. Not that I'm not having a great time with it. I am. I think Silksong's fantastic. It's just a lot of work. That's the thing. Silksong is a lot of work. It takes a lot more effort to do. And I don't always have the time. Plus, I'm trying to play in, like, chunks, you know. I don't want to, like, sit down. Like, Pokemon, I can sit down and play for, like, 20 minutes. Silksong, if I'm going to sit down and play it, I got to put, like, 2 hours into it. And sometimes that's hard to do. I don't know. I'm bad. I'm bad with this shit. There's a reason I've never, you know, made it. You know what I'm thinking? Playing Luigi's Mansion? The Brentalfloss songs. Brentalfloss has done Halloween songs for all 3 games. And that, for some reason, that's what I've been thinking of. Next week, we're definitely finishing Kirby. I don't think we have much left. At least I hope we don't have much left. So next week, we're definitely gonna finish Kirby. I don't know. It might take us longer than that, but I'm gonna try. By gummit, I'm gonna try to finish Kirby. And then we'll see from there. Let's see. Anything else? I can't think of anything. Oh, Peak got a new update. I still, you know, I downloaded that demo for Crash Out Crew, and I didn't even play it. I really wanted... I wanted to check it out, at least. I didn't even fucking play it. Crash Out Crew is the new game by Aggro Crab, developer of Peak, developer of Another Crab's Treasure, developer of Going Under. All 3 good games I'd recommend. And yeah, they have a new game coming out next year, but they put out a demo for it. As well as they put out a new update for Peak. They added, I think it's called The Root. It's something like that. The Root, let's see, I'm pulling up Aggro Crab's Twitter. Yeah, The Roots. It's basically, they replaced the tropical biome with a new biome that is all, you know, giant mushroom forest, big foresty area. I hear it's very difficult. For, like, the second area of the game, it's got, like, spiders, it's got these poison mushroom clouds. I've heard, yeah, it's kind of like the Mesa, where it's like, oh god, you have tornadoes, you've got tumbleweeds, game's throwing all this shit at you, and it's just a lot. I've heard the same thing about this new one, is that it's just a lot of shit. Zombies, there are, like, mushroom zombies, but I like Peak. Oh, and I guess they nerfed the zombies. I like, you know, I got big into speedrunning it over the summer, and I kind of want to play some more. I just don't have people to play it with. That's the thing. Speedrunning was easier because I could do it solo, but I need to find, like, a group. I need to make friends. Aghast. I don't know. But yeah, the new update, you know, I like Aggro Crab. Peak might make it on the Game of the Year list. I legitimately haven't ruled it out yet. That's the thing. Despite how good of a year in gaming it's been, Peak has actually always stayed on the list. At least the short list. I guess let's put it like that. Oh god, there's a new Mario Tennis coming next year. I kind of completely forgot about that. New Mario Tennis. Oh, there were new amiibos that came out today. I didn't buy any of them. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of good on everything right now. I'm still thinking about whether I'm going to pick up one of those Kirby ones, because those are expensive. But yeah, I didn't buy any. I didn't buy the Samus on the motorcycle. Wicked's coming up. I'm excited to see Wicked too, because I've never seen the play. I don't even think I've ever listened to the soundtrack actually, or at least anything from the second half. Because everything, kind of like Les Miserables, everything I know about Wicked, I know from the first half of the play or the musical. I know nothing from the second half. I'm amazed our immunity lasted long enough. I thought for sure we were getting hit right there. Kind of like that. But yeah, I gotta, because I'm theater's showing the first Wicked next week, and then the new one the week after that. This, I think it's, maybe, I might be off by a week, but I might go see the first Wicked in theaters again to see the new one. Have I done any manga or anime? I know I was working on Quintessential Quintuplets. I started it, did the first season, still enjoy the first season. But then I just didn't get around to the second one. I was going to, and then I've never seen the movie. At least I don't think I got around to the second season. I don't know. I kind of can't remember. Oh, you know what I want to talk about? Legos. So I've talked, I became a big Lego guy like 2 years ago. And, the big thing for me has been the botanical sets. Yeah, sure. Do I love the Lego Game Boy? Yes, that's awesome. I keep hoping they make more Nintendo sets. But the ones I care about have been the botanical sets. They revealed a bunch of new botanical sets, or at least some leaks. We have the lilies, so or tulips, right? Tulips? Yeah, they're doing a tulip bouquet. Can I be honest? I'm kind of over the bouquets. I've had to buy like 4 vases. And so I have a coffee table just filled with vases of like roses and spring flowers. And I have a bowl with like a bunch of the like wildflowers in it. I'm kind of over the potless ones, but the botanical sets with the pots, oh, I'm all aboard. But the tulip bouquet looks okay. And then you have a bunch more flowers. You have daisies and lavender. It's 3 daisies, 3 pieces of lavender, and like 2 or 3 of these like smaller things. Okay, whatever, it's $14. Well, 15. You have a blooming cactus. The whole reason I bought my first Lego set for the first time in like 15 years, like 2 years ago, was because of the cactus. When they made the little potted plants, 3 of them were cactuses. I like a cute little cactus. And so I see this new blooming cactus. It's 2 cactuses, kind of like the ones in the arid plant set. But they have like different flowers on top. There's a small one and a top one. And they come in a little blue pot. Fantastic. Definitely picking up. Both those in the tulip, January 1st. Then you have a potted peace lily. So it's a lily plant. I don't think they've done a bunch of orchids. I don't know if they've done lilies before. But it's a lily. It's got a few flowers. It's got a pot, it's like a tubed pot. And it's got a bunch of leaves, $50. I think it looks great. Out of all these ones, this is the best one. If I was going to pick any of these, it would definitely, it'd be the cactus, but this one's also pretty great. There's a wallflower arrangement. So it's a bunch of different flowers. It looks like some of them are from previous sets. Like I recognize, there's like a butterfly one that I've definitely made before, but this one's white instead of pink. That one kind of looks like the one from the spring flowers. So some of these I've definitely made before, but it seems to be this one's a wall decoration. It's just a bunch of wallflowers. Looks pretty solid. I don't know if I'd get it. Depends on the price. But I don't hate it. And that's February 1st. Also February 1st, they're doing a spring wreath. So I do have a Christmas wreath. Hey, look, it's Bowser with the head upside down. I think that's kind of cute. Out of all my things with this Bowser boss fight, this is the one I like. Him turning the head upside down, I think is like a very charming detail. That, only happens when he's on lower health. Of course, us ourselves are also on very low health. And we completely fucked it. Man. So yeah, because we have not had a botanical set in I think we don't have one for the rest of the year. Because the last one we had was like the pink roses, and those ones were kind of whatever. Like, we didn't need another rose set. But hey, we had the Game Boy. And we had the minerals as well. The minerals were also cool. And so now here having, basically starting off the new year with 4 new flower sets. Crazy. They're also supposed to be doing Happy Plants 2. So they did a set called Happy Plants. It's 2 little plant guys. Very cute set. Look it up. Again, it's like $20. It gets you a little yellow one and the blue one, which is adorable. And supposedly they're doing another, like an orange and a purple one later next year. Also sounds fantastic. Yeah. Anything. I'm trying to beat this boss. Like we should have ended like 20 minutes ago. I have been struggling with King Boo. I just don't like this fight. What else can I say? I'm trying, I promise. Oh my gosh. No, I think that's it. That's literally all I got. But we're gonna beat this. We're gonna fucking beat this. I've learned some strategy, like when he's throwing the balls, we hide behind the pillar, and that way he can't get us. You gotta aim for the head quick after that. Like, I'm definitely getting better with each attempt. At least I think I am. I hope I am. Oh, also, so at the end of the last stream, I changed the inversion on the control stick. It's definitely a little weird, because after doing inverted controls for 2 hours, going back to what I would like as the standard of non-inverted, definitely feels a little weird, but I definitely prefer it not inverted. I don't like flight stick controls. It just ain't for me. I saw a thing about that I think it was a tweet or something, about people talking about, like, who actually uses flight stick controls? And fair enough. We just need, like, one good attempt. Okay, I'll take under 200. I guess the new season of Game Changer just wrapped. Game Changer season 8. That's cool. That's a quick wrap, because I swear they only started filming like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I feel like that's a quick wrap. I know they did another sponsor thing, presumably. But we'll see. I'm excited. Make Some Noise has been great. The most recent episode, I don't think we talked about it, but the most recent episode was what the fuck was it? Season 4. For some reason I'm in season 3. Oh, it was Lou, Ross, and Giovanni. And yeah, great episode, some good bits. Yeah, no, really, Make Some Noise is always great. And those are 3 great people to get together. What was that? What's this? Was that a Ross bit? That was really good. What's this? What's this? Yeah. Alright, there we go. There's King Boo. I'm not up on Gastronauts. I'm like 3 weeks behind on Gastronauts. I just kind of fell behind. I'm actually 4 weeks behind on Gastronauts. So that's actually 8 weeks. I don't know how I fell so far behind on Gastronauts. It just kind of happened. No, okay, I was right. I was 3 weeks. For some reason, it doesn't show I'd watched that episode. Paul F. Tompkins, who, he's been on Dropout. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I forgot he was in Tangled. He's Shorty in Tangled. He's the little guy who, at the end of the movie, gets dressed up as a Cupid. He's in the animated series. He's like one of the, like, first tier supporting casts. Him and, like, Lance and Hookfoot. Yeah, they're actually kind of important. And I didn't know until I looked it up. I was like, wait, that's Paul F. Tompkins. I know him from the Funny Comedy Show. He's obviously been in a bunch of other stuff, but for some reason, that's now the first thing I think of. So yeah, I still, you know, despite being stuck on that King Boo boss fight for like a half hour, I still really enjoy this game. Luigi, there's a certain charm to the GameCube. I think, I don't know where I saw it recently, but it was like someone described it as like every GameCube game has become a cult classic. At the time, the GameCube didn't sell that well, it wasn't appreciated, but every GameCube game is a cult classic, or at least all the ones that matter. And yeah, that's Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin kind of feel like that, where it's like they're cult classics, you know, they're easy, they're basically just advanced tech demos, they're easy to 100%, but they're a lot of fun. And yeah, this game is great, I'm glad I replayed it. I kind of want to play more, but Dark Moon, okay, Luigi's Mansion 2, excuse me, kind of sucks. Like, let's just be real here. It's okay, but the missions, like, and I disagreed with this when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I realized, like, no, people were right. The mission structure does kind of suck. The fact that the game's constantly stopping you to have Gad yell at you on your dual screen, it just takes so much momentum out of the game. Where this one is so much more freeform. Dark Moon's, or 3's a lot better as well, but 3's just too long. That's my problem with 3. Alright. I think we have to beat 100,000. It's either 100,000 or it's 120,000. I guess we'll find. I should Google it. Let's see the score first, and then I'll Google it. Luigi's Mansion ranks. Let's not go to the fandom wiki. I always like this as well, that it's playing backwards. Between this and the melody stuff, that's always been fun. But this, meanwhile, I remember being weird. Wait for it. So yeah, it spits Mario out, and now he's got like the vent on him, and he's just like so dizzy. And then Luigi, oh, you can see the tear. But he's like happy he's alive, but he's also just laughing at him. Right? Like he's so happy he's crying, but he's also laughing. I don't know, I always kind of like the whole shoe stomping thing in the sports games. I always found that kind of weird. I like in the future games when he's like, when Mario's like, oh, thank you, Luigi, you're the best. I love you so much, bro. They do that in 2 and 3, and I like that way better. Admittedly, in 3, Mario tries to become the main character again, and it immediately blows up in his face, but it's still fine. Alright, I guess that takes us to our outro. Next week, we'll be back with Kirby. That's the big thing next week, is we got Kirby. You know, it's the last Wii game I wanted to play. Because I brought out the Wii to play Kirby, New Super Mario Bros., and Galaxy 2. Half of those games can be, or at least one of those games can be played on Switch now. And the other two, yeah, I mean, I've had fun with Kirby. I've had fun with New Super Mario Bros. I kind of want to now play the DS one. The problem is I played DS earlier this year. But I want to do the 3DS one, and then maybe we'll do the Wii U one. I'm still in I've played a lot of games. I've played more games this year than I did like last year. But a lot of that is just me replaying old Mario games. And old Kirby games. So I guess we'll see. Totaka! Yeah, I want to say if you pause the game and then wait on the pause screen where it shows the controls for like 3 minutes, it'll play Totaka's song. I wonder what the last game Totaka's song was in. Because I feel like Totaka's still making music for Nintendo, right? But I feel like I haven't seen him in anything in a while. I don't know, it just feels like it's been a while. Oops. Yamauchi, yeah. Is this the oldest game we've done for one of these? I guess 64, never mind. And so the matter of the ghost was settled. Professor Egad was delighted to have all his paintings returned, and he used the treasure Luigi had found to build a new house. You know, the money's real though, so go and suck it up. Congratulations, you got A rank! Yeah, I knew it was 100. So that is the best rank you can get on this version. If you play the 3DS version, there's an S rank if you get over 130. Also, A rank in the Hidden Mansion, it seems like, is also 130. Whatever, we got 105. Still pretty good. It's been a while since I've done that. Because I think the last time, when I played on the 3DS last time, I only got like B. But yeah, that's where we're going to end off for today. Let me take us back here. I'll get this sorted. This is just something I threw together in like 2 minutes. I'll get this thing sorted out in future times. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna... I might have to make this bigger. That's like... I make it bigger, but then it looks kind of blurry. At least, it looks blurry in my mind. Like, maybe it's just me. I don't know. And then chat's over here. I know you can't see it. But if I type, like, Apple... Yeah, there's chat. I got that part working at least. I also... Is there a way to quickly center this? Okay, I want that, but a little lower. Okay, I'll figure it out. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end off for today. We'll be back next time with Kirby and other stuff, you know. We do have a Kirby's Air... Okay, my goal is to be back with Kirby's Epic Yarn. But I might play the Kirby's Air Ride demo, record some footage of that, and we might potentially use that footage next time. You know, maybe we'll do a pre-recorded episode. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about it now, because that's totally within our realm of possibility. But I think for now, we're going to end off there. So I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.